has to be exposed. I will do that on my YouTube channel this week. I hope you watch. The history of hatred towards the Jewish people spans 3,000 years. Subject is both incomprehensible and frightening. As always, we will give you a fact-based analysis and perspective. This is important because many Americans, including most, have no idea what anti-Semitism actually is. It is not taught in schools, nor accurately reported in the media. But left unchecked, anti-Semitism will have a very negative effect on this country or any other. That is why I'm flagging you to the YouTube commentary, youtube.com/Bill O'Reilly. Please let me know what you think. Back in a moment. Imagine a pharmacy that actually makes your life easier. All Family Pharmacy handles it all. Consultations, prescriptions, fulfillment, shipping. As we head into cold and flu season, now is the time to stay prepared. From antibiotics and antivirals to ivermectin and more, they've got you covered. Licensed doctors review every order for safety, and everything ships right to your door. Please visit allfamilypharmacy.com/Bill. Save 10% today. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. I am Bill O'Reilly. For more news and honest analysis, please go to BillO'Reilly.com. No spin, just facts, and always looking out for you.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Chance Koch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking temperatures a little bit chillier this morning, back towards mid-20s to start back off. Then we're seeing winds increasing out of the southwest. Going to be a gusty afternoon. That'll help actually warm us into the mid-50s. Wind gusts could be close to 26 miles per hour, but a warmer breeze. As we head throughout the rest of the week, we'll continue a warming trend into the weekend. Friday and Saturday, temperatures towards mid-70s and chances of showers beginning Sunday. In the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Koch.
Let's get moving, St. Louis. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on NewsTalkSTL.
Okay, shutdown update. What's next? We'll have the basic details for you at the news break and news dump here right around 6:04. By the way, we had a conversation with Congressman Bob Onder about that yesterday. A lot of really insightful stuff on kind of the behind-the-scenes stuff. So check out our podcast and you can find that. Hey, good morning. Mike Ferguson here. All right, so an interesting court case has been filed. Now, it's in California, but it could potentially affect everybody who's a person of faith in this country, regardless of what your faith is. We have seen these absolute lunatic left-wing protesters try to disrupt and successfully disrupt people's religious services if they don't like what their theology teaches, AKA they're actually conservative, they're actually biblical when it comes to Israel, things like that. Well, our friends at the First Liberty Institute is taking on one of the most notorious left-wing lunatic groups. That would be Code Pink in a new court case. First Liberty's Kayla Toney joined us on Monday's program outlining what the case is all about and why it could matter across the country.
We're talking about a lawsuit that's filed basically against the Code Pink protesters. I've seen these people in action myself over the years, and I know you have to be nice, but I'll just tell you what I saw. They're nuts, and they're very aggressive, and we see how aggressive a lot of leftist protesters are. So what's the basis of the lawsuit that's been filed? Because it has to do with church services and these protesters protesting. What's the bottom line kind of foundational question here?
Yes, well, thank you so much for having me on the program today. We represent the Mission Church, which is a small non-denominational church in Southern California. And we also represent the Christian and Jewish Alliance, which is a beautiful coalition of local synagogues and churches that came together after the attacks on October 7th. In order to support each other and to learn and educate each other about what's going on in the Middle East, and in order to worship together. And so there's been 3 different worship services that have been disrupted by these hostile agitators. And it's the same group of people, as you mentioned, affiliated with Code Pink. And they've really prevented these Jewish and Christian people from worshiping. For example, back in March, about 12 disruptors infiltrated the church sanctuary, pretending to be guests at a worship event that was headlined by a prominent Jewish speaker who was sharing about the nation of Israel. And they jumped up in the middle and started screaming one by one and had to be escorted out, and then lined up right outside the church door, making it very, very intimidating for church members as they were trying to leave and get to their cars. And then again, just last month, the same group came back and they disrupted an outdoor worship event that was full of beautiful gospel choir music. There were rabbis that prayed and spoke and pastors who preached. And it was really, a great coalition service. But these disruptors actually jumped on people's cars as they tried to drive into the event. And then they blared imitation police sirens during the entire 3 hours so that people could not hear the pastors and the rabbis who were speaking and praying. So that's why we brought a lawsuit, because we think this really crosses the line from just speech, which of course is protected and welcome by the First Amendment, but this crosses the line into obstructing and interfering with our clients' religious exercise, which is also protected by the First Amendment. And that's why we brought a lawsuit.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously doing something like jumping on a car, something like that, there are clear legal issues on that. But if it's a matter of, and I'm just asking this, seriously as devil's advocate, but in a way, but what's the legal argument to say, well, you can talk, but you can't talk like that? Where is the line? And do we need to be careful how much we restrict? Because, the First Amendment allows you to say really horrible stuff and be a terrible person and do it that way. But where is the line between you have a right to say what you want to say versus you're getting into violating somebody else's right to say what they want to say?
That's a great question, and it's a hard question. And here the focus is really on houses of worship and places of worship. So when the speech becomes disruptive and interfering and threatening the safety of people trying to worship at their local church or synagogue, that's where the law is triggered. And so the law that we're suing under is called the FACE Act, Freedom of Clinic Access. And in the past, it's actually been used to protect abortion clinics. You might have heard of these buffer zone cases where people try to protest or pray outside of an abortion clinic and can be liable. And the legal standard is, does it interfere, intimidate, or obstruct the access? Now, when that law was passed, Senator Orrin Hatch, who was really a visionary when it came to religious liberty, he challenged his colleagues by adding an amendment saying that houses of worship should enjoy at least the same protection as abortion clinics. And so that amendment is in the law, which means that people cannot obstruct, intimidate, or interfere with religious exercise at a place of worship. And so that's the law that we're suing under. And we think it's very helpful because it is limited, right? So it's not preventing speech in public context. People are welcome to speak on the sidewalk or in a public place. Of course, that's protected. It's when it's inside the church, when it's at the church door, when it's, jumping on cars in the parking lot coming to the worship service. That's when it becomes obstructing, because really it's preventing people from safely exercising their First Amendment rights in worship.
Yeah, you mentioned that they were blaring like sirens as well. Is there anything in either First Amendment case law, religious freedom case law, that addresses amplification and basically artificial sound? Because can you ban something like that and not be banning the actual speech?
Yes, I believe so. It's kind of a new area of law, so there's not a lot of precedent on this, but certainly if the intent of the noise is to drown out someone else's speech, that's not speech, and it doesn't send a message. Something like a siren is not sharing any sort of message. It's in fact designed to drown out someone else's message. And I will say the Department of Justice has brought a very similar case protecting a synagogue in New Jersey where vuvuzelas and police sirens were also used in order to cause hearing damage. And they made that same argument under the FACE Act, saying that this is not speech, this is trying to drown out someone else's speech.
Yeah, so basically a more aggressive version of a heckler's veto, kind of.
Correct.
Okay, so here's the tricky question. This case is obviously in California. I don't want to stereotype, but the courts in California don't always get it right, and they tend to sort of ignore basic, Bill of Rights things. What is your take on the initial reaction to the case in the courts in California?
Well, it's too early to tell. We did get a judge assigned, and we're just starting on all of the process of getting the lawsuit launched. But we are optimistic because we think the facts here are so egregious. And, the story is a compelling one, especially since it's the same disruptors targeting the same Christians and Jews in the same neighborhood, on multiple occasions. And we also think the FACE Act is really significant. It's one of these interesting laws that crosses political lines because whatever precedent is set to protecting houses of worship, there is that flip side with the abortion clinics. And so we're hopeful that our judge will see it as less of a political issue and more of enforcing the law as it's written to make sure that people are not interfering with or obstructing religious Americans' ability to worship safely.
Okay, so if you get the ruling that you're looking for, what is it you want them to be enjoined from? Obviously, the physical violence, I would think that's just a criminal act itself. But what is it from a civil perspective do you want to be enforceable with a court ruling?
Yes, we're really looking for protection here, and it's really applied to these specific defendants for these specific places of worship. So what we're asking for is injunctive relief, which would be a court order, essentially preventing these specific people from coming and disrupting and interfering with services at the Mission Church or services that are hosted by the Christian and Jewish Alliance. And we think that that would provide the right deterrence and the right accountability to make sure that these people can worship freely because they're afraid to plan future events together. They want to as a practice of their religious faith, but they know that these events could be ruined by the exact same disruptors and that there might be more violence and more obstruction. So that's really the core protection that we're looking for, and that deterrence and accountability.
Okay, we're visiting with Kayla Tony from the First Liberty Institute. Just got a minute or so left here, Kayla. Okay, so this is in California. We've seen an increase in violent, disruptive leftist protesting. And to be fair, some leftist protesters who do it right. They just have their say, wave their signs, do their flags, and they do it. But the ones who have gotten aggressive, the ones who are violating other people's rights, somebody may be asking, we hope you win in California. Does that have anything that could impact us in preserving rights here in St. Louis, in Illinois or in Missouri?
We think it certainly could. We think the deterrence and the accountability here are very important because so far there's not been any sort of limitation on, the growing tide of anti-Semitism that we've seen. And so, yes, we do think, technically a California ruling will be binding only in California, but we think that especially compared with the Department of Justice similar case in New Jersey, we think that, that could have a really strong impact, really in pushing back against this growing tide of anti-Semitism. It's important that people of all faiths feel safe in our country. And Jewish Americans right now are experiencing so much hostility that it's extending to the Christians who support them. And that's wrong. And that's something that we're really seeking to help prevent.
Okay, so what's the next step in the case? And what do you see as the timeline for getting this to a decision? Because these things can drag on for quite a while sometimes.
Certainly, yes. We are seeking urgent injunctive relief. So we're asking the court to provide protection so that our clients can host events here in the next few months without fear of disruption. And so we're hopeful that the court will rule sooner rather than later. And, we'll definitely be keeping an eye out for similar violations that are occurring. And we'll be fighting to make sure that our clients are protected so that, all people of faith can worship freely without having to be afraid.
All right. We follow the work that you and your colleagues are doing. How and where?
On our website, firstliberty.org, you can see all the great cases that we're fighting for right now. We never have to charge our clients a dime for legal fees, which is an incredible blessing because of our generous supporters. And there's also a place on the website where you can request legal help. And this is how a lot of our cases come in. It's just a simple fillable form. And if you or someone is experiencing a religious liberty problem, please do feel free to reach out to us because we're always glad to review and glad to help where we can.
All right, our food drive is underway. Go to NewsTalkSTL.com and you can get the location nearest you for a bin to drop off your donations that are going to support the work in the ministry of Feed My People right here in St. Louis. And by the way, that includes here at the radio station. But check that out, NewsTalkSTL.com to get that list. All right, got some thoughts on basically anything we're talking about 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
If you have a phone, you have a radio.
Download the all-new News Talk STL app.
Love the all-new NewsTalk STL app.
On my way to work in the morning.
Usually I'm in the car.
I listen on the app in my car every morning going to work.
Download the News Talk STL app and listen anytime, anywhere.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on NewsTalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Why leave your company's story to chance? In today's digital world, video content isn't just an option. It's essential for your success. At Blue Ocean Media Group, we've spent decades crafting compelling visual stories for businesses just like yours. From concept to completion, our award-winning team transforms your vision into powerful video content that connects with your audience and drives results. Don't trust your brand to amateurs. Partner with Blue Ocean Media Group. Visit blueoceanmediagroup.com today, and let's bring your story to life.
Put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Okay, so the question is, where do we go from here? Looks like the shutdown is going to be over officially here any day now.
They're shutting down the shutdown.
Exactly. Okay, so among the senators who joined the Republicans and finally ended the shutdown is John Fetterman. Here was his take on this. This was on one of the Fox shows.
It really wasn't difficult for me personally compared to the 42 million Americans now that they had their SNAP suspended. And then the military not getting paid, all these government workers.
You know what's really weird is like the one Democrat who regularly touches reality is the guy who had the massive stroke and the mental illness.
I mean, when you put it that way, what does that tell us about the rest of these people?
Yeah, I mean, it's like the guy whose brain broke, and so the question, and the funny part was because when he was running for Senate, we were like every other conservative media, we were just brutal on this guy. The wearing the Walmart shorts and, claiming to be of the people, but he's actually, from a very wealthy family and his wife's basically a Marxist. And I'm like, and he has settled in, he has done this about face, and he's the one that we can get along with now. It's just weird how politics works in that way.
Yeah, I remember a lot of people giving him flack because he wasn't dressed up to the T's, and he's like, oh, well, he said he's depressed and you can't do that.
Right.
And, well, guess what? Sometimes it does not mean that the way that you dress means that you have a functioning brain. Sometimes these types of people have the most common sense.
Now, he should be wearing a suit. They changed the rules to allow him to wear his hoodie and his shorts, which I think was dumb. But in the United States Senate. But the funny part is with him is that his wife was a big problem for him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just a big problem. And nobody's heard from or about her in a long time. I have a feeling that the Democratic Party is like, hey, you, you're really, because she's like an open, like avowed socialist. I mean, she is really one of the mean types as well.
Well, I mean, given the current state of the DNC, I would actually imagine that they would say, "Hey, Fetterman, you
You would think, yeah.
step up, lady. You're going to come join us with Bernie and
Yeah.
AOC now."
Yeah, well, and she's like of that ilk, but because she was kind of leading when he was basically non-functioning. You know, there were questions like, is she actually making the decisions? And she wasn't elected. So maybe she's still there behind the scenes doing stuff. But Fetterman, Fetterman has basically become something we did not think that he was, because we thought he was just another left-wing extremist who couldn't, remember more than 2 or 3 seconds at a time. And he's the one who's now getting along with people. So obviously whatever the physical or the mental stuff that they're dealing with is being addressed. But it's just weird to me, is like the one guy who's making any common sense is the one guy who has the history, physical and mental history that's very, very different. Now, I think a lot of the other Democrats are crazy, but I don't think they've been diagnosed with anything.
Yeah, and I don't want to make too much light of the fact that he's had a stroke, but there are times where certain changes to your physical functions actually can change your personality a little bit.
Yeah.
And then there's also the aspect of maybe that spooked him into realizing, wow, I need to get myself together and actually do some good common sense stuff to help my people, because God forbid, if it were to happen again in the future, maybe he wouldn't be able to do that. And then somebody even worse would step up.
And Pennsylvania is a Rust Belt state. It's a blue state, but it's not a California hue of blue. It's a different type of blue. It is that Rust Belt, basically gritty manufacturing, agriculture. It's not the Berkeley blue.
So yeah, they were one of the states that flipped for President Trump last time as well.
Did. Yeah,
so there is still a little bit of common sense left in there.
Yeah, there's some. So it's not necessarily a conservative state. So he's trying to kind of toe that line out there. So that's what's been interesting. So what's going to happen now is it goes to the House. There was an article on this in RedState. Somebody named Susie Moore wrote it. That gives us updates. So we'll check in with her in just a few minutes here as well. So that's where we are. Is the House is going to have to approve all the stuff that was funded. So we're going to basically get essentially through the end of the year. And so we could be right back in the same situation come the beginning of the year, because now we're into 2026. Now we're into the elections. And remember, primaries in some states start as early as March in Illinois. And so we're in campaign season now.
I was going to say, I mean, I know technically speaking that there is a actual, a schedule to these sorts of things, but I would argue we probably are already in primary season, or at least a pregame version of that.
Right. Yeah. And it basically never ends. I mean, you're saying, for instance, around here, you're saying campaign launch announcement parties and all that kind of stuff for 2026. And that's all happening now.
Wow.
And that's just the way we are. We are in a perpetual state of campaigning in this country here. So that's where we're at, which I'm using to set up future discussions here this morning, because then who's going to be able to leverage the entire shutdown and all of the ripple effect problems that have come from it? Because we're not done. Just because they vote to reopen the government and authorize the spending, the ripple effects are going to keep going. I mean, I saw 2 different reports this morning that says they're actually anticipating travel delays, flight delays to last through Thanksgiving. I mean, they're not going to be able to get caught up from this right away.
Yeah, I saw yesterday even it was 10,000 flights.
Yep.
And I don't know the exact math, because you can't just say the only people affected were the people that were supposed to be on those flights.
Correct.
So it's going to be something where if you weren't listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning, then don't be upset that you were caught off guard. That there's still issues in the next 2, 3, 4 weeks.
Right. So that's where things are at when it comes to the shutdown, which obviously will basically be able to get back to the normal dysfunction of the federal government. We're just done with this dysfunction. We'll get back to the normal dysfunction.
So we've left the Jerry Springer phase. We're going back to the Maury phase.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. That's a good way to put it. Oh my goodness. All right. 5:55 right now. We launched our food drive yesterday, as we were all excited about. And I got to say thank you, because yesterday morning, we had 2 people drive up to the station and say, hey, can you help unload food out of my trunk?
Oh my.
It was really cool. So we were, I mean, it actually beat the bin to us. We got the bin like at 10:30 or something. We had a couple people pull right up here to the radio station and say, I'm helping out. And so I was helping load some stuff out of, some great people's cars. And so thank you to everybody who came by. And so we're off to a really strong start, but there's going to be a great big need. Even if the SNAP stuff works itself out in the next couple of weeks, that's okay, fine. That's whatever it's going to end up being. the cost of living has still gone up. There's just going to be a lot of people who need extra help, and we can do this better than the government can do this. And we're off to a very strong start.
I don't want to get too sappy, but I mean, that is precisely what I love about the extended News Talk STL family is, I mean, even going back to when the tornadoes were hitting, we had so many people both on this show and the Dr. Tobler show sitting there saying, well, how can we get involved? How can we help people? How can we even just do something for the people that are already doing something to help people? It's like, that just shows how much we really do care about our community and how many people actively want to find ways to be involved in this stuff. And that's something that you don't really get in this world, or at least people don't think you get in this world anymore.
Yeah. And I mean, food drives are kind of a staple, frankly, in radio. And I've done a lot of food drives over the years. And it's always, it never gets old. Because remember, organizations like Feed My People, which is what our food drive, that's the organization our food drive is benefiting this year. The food banks, all of those, most of their donations when it comes to food and that sort of thing, most of them come in during the holiday season. And so now's the time to really step up. And with Feed My People, what I really like about this is because typically what happens, and I'm not knocking this, okay, I mean, it's a really good thing, is the really big networks of food distribution and the charitable groups, and they're doing great work. That's why they're so big. But they have a system, and basically what's happening is you get to kind of co-brand and you can co-promote and all that sort of thing. I used to work at a radio station where it was called cause marketing. So we've got a great cause, we've got a great charitable group, but we're marketing, we're branding, and again, there's nothing really wrong with that. In this case right here, Feed My People is a local organization that works with people holistically right here. So this isn't the big corporate type of brand. And again, the food bank does great work. Don't get me wrong, but I just love that we have been able to pick out, us in the St. Louis County GOP Central Committee. We have been able to work with an organization that's local, deals with people holistically. And what they're doing is getting them from point A to point B, which is self-sufficiency. So to me, this is really one of the more rewarding ones I think I'm going to be involved in.
Yeah. And it's the great thing about stuff like this is that people want to come, but it's also important to remember that usually we wait until we hear a disaster or catastrophic event happens before we get involved.
Right.
This is a year-round thing that we can do. And I'm going back up for Thanksgiving to my family in Chicago area, and they want to send me back home with some stuff to donate. Great. So, I mean, this is really going above and beyond for everybody.
Yep. So please come on out to the radio station. Of course, you can go to Michael's Flooring, and you can go to Chris's Pancakes, and you can go to the Bertolinos, and we would just love for you to be a part of it.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Brian Pichelle. He is the executive director of Dogs for Our Brave.
I've been very blessed to have incredible support in my life as I battled through my journey of coming back from Iraq and dealing with, PTSD and everything I saw and witnessed as a medic. Not all veterans have that type of support. And ultimately, that's why I say we are a gift of love. We are a gift. We want to be that beacon of hope.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Are you being audited or investigated? Has the IRS sent you a letter demanding payment? You may not owe what they claim. Make this free call to the tax doctor now. Let them negotiate with the IRS on your behalf.
800-240-4586. 800-240-4586. That's 800-240-4586.
KLDY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
This hour from Town Hall, I'm Rich Thomason. The House is the next stop for a bill to reopen the government. Last night, the Senate passed the bill on a vote of 60-40. The House could take up that legislation as soon as tomorrow. House Speaker Mike Johnson says lawmakers will have to make up for lost time once the longest shutdown ever finally ends.
Johnson looks forward to Congress returning to a regular legislative session after the House has been in recess for several weeks, and he offers this warning to fellow lawmakers.
There'll be long days and long nights here for the foreseeable future to make up for all this lost time that was imposed upon us.
The House Speaker sent lawmakers home after their September 19th vote to approve a temporary spending bill and has refused to bring them back until the government reopens. Greg Clugston, Washington.
The Senate bill keeps the government funded through January 30th, and it guarantees a vote on Obamacare subsidies. Parts of the Midwest and the Great Lakes digging out from the season's first significant snowfall as the lake effect snow machine kicks into high gear and chilly Arctic air filters as far south as Florida.
Local governments across the South have opened heated shelters. Hazardous road conditions are affecting travel in Tennessee, Michigan, Indiana, and Wisconsin. Meanwhile, gardeners in the Midwest and Northeast are advised to protect plants as the growing season ends. In addition, wind chills in Florida might cause iguanas to fall from trees.
And that's correspondent Andrew Stewart. An illegal immigrant from Mexico is under arrest, accused of opening fire on ICE agents in Chicago over the weekend. Death threats against and assaults on ICE agents have skyrocketed in recent months. On Wall Street this morning, stock futures are mixed, and Dow futures 4 points higher, while the NASDAQ futures are down 103 points, and the S&P futures 14 points lower. More on these stories at townhall.com.
The national debt is soaring and the dollar is weakening. Rising deficits and market instability are creating a perfect storm of economic uncertainty. In unpredictable times, more people are turning to physical gold and silver, real tangible assets that have protected wealth for centuries, as a way to safeguard their savings and retirement.
And now, with the Fed preparing another rate cut, precious metals are poised for dramatic gains in the coming weeks.
At Advantage Gold, we help you move your IRA or eligible 401k into physical precious metals, tax-free and penalty-free.
When you call 800-741-GOLD,
you'll receive a free gold guide packed with real-world strategies to help protect your investments.
Call 800-741-GOLD
or visit AdvantageGold.com.
Call 800-741-4653.
Consult with your financial and tax professionals before making investment decisions.
Call 800-741-GOLD.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Chance Koch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking temperatures a little bit chillier this morning, back towards the mid-20s to start back off. Then we're seeing winds increasing out of the southwest. Going to be a gusty afternoon. That'll help actually warm us into the mid-50s. Wind gusts could be close to 26 miles per hour, but a warmer breeze. As we head throughout the rest of the week, we'll continue a warming trend into the weekend. Friday and Saturday, temperatures towards mid-70s and chances of showers beginning Sunday. In the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Koch.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
Streaming TV is where it's at. It's not about cutting the cord anymore. That's old news. It's all about your customized TV options. With the best and cheapest high-speed internet and your own TV subscriptions, we've got your dream TV lineup. Between wired and satellite internet and TV, you now have tons of options. Save money and get more internet speed and better TV today by calling the Whole Home Connect. We scan your location and offer you the best TV and internet options. And we always have specials and promotions. So when you call, ask about that. Take 5 minutes of your time. Make this free call now and learn how to save money and get better internet and TV for your home anywhere in the U.S. Make this simple and free call now.
800-257-1632. 800-257-1632. 800-257-1632. That's 800-257-1632.
For the heroes who have defended our country.
For the survival of liberty.
Thank you for standing up when your nation needed you most.
Honoring all who serve. If I could say something to the veterans.
Take a moment to say 2 wonderful words. Thank you.
News Talk STL. Mike Ferguson.
I'm not like the rest of you. I don't make mistakes.
Susie Moore.
What you're telling me doesn't sound logical, my dear.
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
You need to get to go. I need to be able to get where you need to go to do the work.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
Okay, so the federal government's going to soon be back to its normal level of dysfunction.
Yay.
Yeah, exactly. Yay, question mark.
Yeah. Well, I have mixed feelings about that, but I'm somewhat excited, and I'll explain why we get into it.
Okay, good. And left-wing violence, still a thing, happening again. Yeah, we're going to get that a little bit later on today here. And our food drive is off to a strong start.
Yay.
I mean, really strong start. It is 6:06 right now. I say we start with the news dump. What do you say?
The morning news dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks, the morning news dump.
All right. The Senate votes to end the longest running government shutdown in U.S. history. This update from correspondent Bernie Bennett.
On this vote, the ayes are 60, the nays are 40. The bill as amended passed.
The shutdown could last a few more days as members of the House, which has been in recess since mid-September, return to Washington to vote on the legislation. President Donald Trump has signaled support for the bill, saying Monday that, quote, we're going to be opening our country very quickly. The Senate voted 47-53 along party lines not to extend Affordable Health Care Act subsidies for a year. Majority Republicans allowed the vote as part of a separate deal with Democrats to speed up votes and send the legislation to the House. Bernie Bennett, Washington.
Okay, so Susie, was that the vote that John Thune said we're going to look at in December? They say, let's just do it now. We know we're going to win anyway.
You know what? I that's the first I'd heard of that, and I
yeah.
watched the entire thing, and I didn't. There were 2 amendments offered by the Democrats, and I didn't pay super duper close attention to them. I got the impression that it was just an amendment that was similar,
okay.
maybe from Tammy Baldwin, or it was either Tammy Baldwin or Jeff Merkley, but I could be wrong about that.
Well, so they still may have another
I think so.
big pomp and circumstance vote, the stuff that they're going to campaign on next year. They'll do
Yeah,
that.
because otherwise I don't think they would have gotten the agreement.
Yeah.
Because they wanted like an actual vote, debate,
Right.
that sort of thing. And this was not debate yesterday.
Okay, so they'll probably still see that in early December is probably what
Mhm.
we'll get. All right, Boeing increases the ratification bonus for striking employees in the latest offer. The company is now offering a $6,000 ratification bonus, saying that's based on the feedback from the union members who have been on strike since August 4th. The increased bonus takes the place of a stock offering that was in a previous offer.
Okay.
So the company has already hired some replacement workers, but it is offering a guarantee that all striking International Association of Machinist workers will get their job back if they ratify and are able to go back to work by November 17th. And they made it very clear this guarantee is not forever. So the company is
Interesting.
really increasing the pressure.
Yeah, they are. And that sounds like a pretty sweet deal.
Oh, the union's been offered such a really good above market deal. It's insane that they're still doing this.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised that it's, well, I don't know all the ins and outs of it,
Yeah.
but I don't know, that signing bonus sounds like
Right.
pretty great this time of year.
Yeah, exactly. About 3,200 union members are on strike, and that affects both sides of the river.
Mhm.
So you've obviously got, North County, Muscuda. So you've got a lot of workers here. No word yet as to what the union members are going to do. Other than that ratification bonus, there doesn't look like there really were any changes to what
Yeah.
the union's already rejected. So it's just more money up front
Right.
to return to work.
But a lot of the members might be more attuned to that than stock options.
Right. Well, that's what the company said. They said, "Hey, you said you'd rather have cash than stock options. Okay, here's the cash."
There you go.
And here's the other thing is they made it pretty clear that some of their elements of production at the plant here, they're back up basically to full capacity. Not all of them, but some of them, with the replacement workers that they have actually hired.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So the longer this goes, the more Boeing onboards replacement workers, the less leverage the union's going to have here.
That's true.
Yeah. And they were offered, like over 4 to 5 years, depending on whether they did the 4-year or the 5-year contract, you're talking 40+% guaranteed wage raises.
Yeah.
So it's just insane that they're saying no to this.
And if I remember correctly, all this was because they looked at a area where they have an insane cost of
Seattle,
living.
yeah.
And they're like, well, we want that money, but we want to be able to spend it in an area where it's much cheaper to live. That doesn't really,
Right.
Why don't you go to Seattle and take the money and see how bad it is there?
Yeah. I mean, you got to do apples to apples.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, exactly. Okay. Threats against Border Patrol agents are continuing to heat up even more as they carry out immigration enforcement in Chicago. And this time we had a shooting targeted at federal agents taking place over the weekend. CPB Chief Patrol Agent Greg Bovino was on Fox's America Reports, reacting to the announcement that a suspect was arrested in connection with that shots fired situation.
This is indeed an illegal alien
that had a prior felony conviction for firearms.
Yeah, and was still in the country. Imagine that.
Huh, how's that work?
Yeah, Alderman Michael Rodriguez, a Democrat there in the Chicago Board of Aldermen, he says the Border Patrol agents are causing all sorts of mayhem in one of his social media posts. And now, of course, the courts are trying to block the agents from enforcing the law. And at some point, I have a feeling that the administration is going to go, we don't care what these rulings say. We're going to go enforce the law.
Maybe it's just me, but I'm a little tired of hearing that the agents' skirts were too short.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, this
Yeah,
is
no.
the argument that we're even seeing this in the court cases. The argument is that their presence is provocative and is the cause of the unrest, as
Right.
opposed to, the people actually engaging in the unrest.
Yeah. No, precisely. And the country, I think, overall is tired of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think most of the capital D Democrats are tired of it. It's just the fringe that is now there's more on the fringe than I would like to admit, but they're the only ones who are still buying into this idea that finding illegal aliens, particularly the criminal ones, is somehow mayhem being caused by the administration and not by those criminally in the country.
It's I don't know. I think maybe just our attention span has moved on from it, but the bottom line is that the argument that they're making just doesn't hold water.
Yep. All right. The president is threatening to sue the BBC. Yeah, over the way the network edited a speech that he made for one of their broadcasts.
In a letter to Britain's public broadcaster, the president's lawyers said the BBC must retract its documentary by November 14th or face a lawsuit for no less than $1 billion. The network came under fire for cutting out a section of Donald Trump's speech on January 6, 2021, when he said he wanted supporters to demonstrate peacefully at the U.S. Capitol. Over the weekend, the head of the BBC and the news CEO both resigned, calling the edit an error of judgment. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Well, I guess technically that's an error in judgment, or you could just call it lying.
Yeah. I think he's got a pretty good legal ground to stand on there.
Yeah.
I mean, for all the hubbub and angst over January 6th, what they did was take two completely separate by an hour parts of the speech and make it look like he asked people go riot.
Right. Yeah.
That's a problem.
We have freedom of the press here in this country, but that comes with a significant responsibility.
Yeah, you're not supposed to lie.
You don't lie. Yeah, precisely. Okay. Federal Housing Finance Agency. Did you know we had a Federal Housing Finance Agency? We have one. And apparently they do stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that acronym before.
Yeah. So their director is a guy by the name of Pulte. Bill Pulte. Yeah. So he posted on X on Monday that President Trump is proposing a plan for the government to back 50-year mortgages. When asked for what he thinks of the plan, the president dismisses any negative concerns from people like me on Fox's The Ingram Angle.
It's not even a big deal. I mean, you go from 40 to 50 years, and what it means is you pay something less from 30. That some people had a 40, and then now they have a 50. All it means is you pay less per month. You pay it over a longer period of time.
Okay, you're out of your mind if you take on a 50-year mortgage. I mean, you're out of your mind. Don't do that.
I will own nothing, and I will not be happy about it.
Jeez. Oh, my goodness. So, yeah.
Okay. Devil's advocate.
Okay.
Putting the horns on.
Yeah.
Okay. Why are you out of your mind when you take into consideration the fact that, if you sell the house, you are done with the mortgage? I mean, you're whether it's a 30 years or 50 years, you're talking about a very long-term loan that very few people actually live out that entire time in that house.
Because the compound interest on a 50-year mortgage, 30 years is bad enough. I mean, honestly, you shouldn't. It's a good idea to take no more than 15 or 20-year mortgage, to be really honest. A 50-year mortgage, the only ones who are profiting are going to be the banks, and you're going to build in almost no equity, especially if you don't, if you sell within a fairly short time, which a lot of people do.
Right.
Can I pile onto that real quick as well? So I've been doing, because eventually I would like to have at least some sort of home I can call my own. And the average first-time home buyer, not owner, but somebody taking out being able to actually qualify for a loan for a mortgage for the first time is 40 in 2025. So if you take a 50-year mortgage out, if you found something that this is your dream home that you want to stay in, you'd be 90 before you finally pay it off.
Yes, but this is an answer to that. This is to make it more affordable and available to younger people who have less income. So if you're 25 and looking to buy a home and you can get one that's a 50-year mortgage that's only going to cost you $1,200 a month versus a 30-year mortgage that's going to cost you $1,800 a month, maybe now you can afford to get into a home as a 25-year-old.
I will look more into that. Thank you.
I understand the skepticism. I'm just saying there might
Yeah.
be some people that this is actually helpful for, maybe.
I don't think so. I don't. I mean, I get what he's trying to say. It's just personal finance is. I don't know that there'd be anybody who's actually really good at that sort of thing. Do you see the Babylon Bee on this?
No, I didn't.
They showed Dave Ramsey like in a hospital bed, and it's like Ramsey basically barely surviving after hearing about 50-year mortgages.
I get it.
Yeah.
I do get it. I'm just saying that is one potential answer to the affordability issue.
The Herzog Foundation is the vision of its founder, Stanley Herzog, and it exists to promote quality Christ-centered K-12 education nationwide.
Hi, this is Chris Stegall with the Herzog Foundation. We offer a wide variety of resources relevant to today's families, including a free online publication called The Lion. The lion is one of God's most majestic creatures, symbolizing strength and courage. Named for its attributes, the Lion publication carries articles covering a wide range of topics facing American families and culture, especially related to the education of children. The Lion can be found online at readlion.com. That's READ lion.com.
Sign up for The Lion at readlion.com and find dozens of must-read articles published every day. Visit readlion.com and subscribe for the weekly and daily digests so you never miss an article. Readlion.com. That's readlion.com.
Now you can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go and pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. That's 800-515-2397.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
You are beautiful on the inside. You are innocence personified, and I will track you down and sell you out.
Good morning, St. Louis. Hey, it's Vince from The Vince Show right here on News Talk STL every weeknight at 8. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
All right, the shutdown is about to be over, but the ripple effects are going to last for a while, Susie.
Yeah, they are.
Yep. Okay, so the House is likely to approve the agreement this week. Have you heard what the schedule is on that yet?
No, and I think they're still trying to wait to see how quickly everybody can get back in town.
Yeah.
They're all traveling. Today is Veterans Day,
Right?
So I don't think they were planning on doing anything anyway. But I think they're aiming for tomorrow, but that has not been definitively laid out as the timing.
Yeah. So basically, SNAP payments at this point are going to be partial payments in Missouri at this point, because remember, the government's not reopened yet. Just it's cleared the Senate side. Now, I have a feeling that the House is just going to rubber stamp it and move on.
I think so too.
Yeah, but that may not change those welfare benefits for this month. So they'll be back in full next month, but this month they still may be partial.
And just from like a logistical standpoint, yes. I don't know if they're going to try and backfill that.
Right. Right. I don't know.
My assumption is yes. But I don't know. I mean, they were, the mechanism of trying to do partial payments was an issue.
Right.
And that's why we're having all these court battles over it. But my assumption is, without having verified this completely, is that they will backfill the deficit from.
Yeah, because the money is there. Remember, what they didn't run out of the money; they just ran out of the permission to spend it.
Correct.
Right, and at this point, they still don't have permission to spend it because the House has not approved the bill and the president hasn't signed it.
This is correct, but the judge thinks he's given them permission to.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so also like flight delays and cancellations. I saw a couple articles this morning that are saying they still think the backlog and the ripple effect on this probably going to last through Thanksgiving.
Well, it could. I will tell you this. If you get everything online and onboarded and everybody up to full speed, they said it'll take at least 96 hours from that point to completely unwind, the delay at that point. Now that's, when do we get everybody back online completely? Maybe the end of this week. So 96 hours pushes us into next week.
Yeah.
That's not all the way out to Thanksgiving, but it wouldn't surprise me if there are sort of lagging effects from that.
Yeah, and apparently there's also been an increase in air traffic controllers retiring.
Mm-hmm.
The ones who've been on for long, they're like, I'm done. Screw this. I'm out.
Had enough of this.
Yeah.
BS.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you can't really blame them if they've got their 20 or 25 years or whatever it is that they get you to retire as an air traffic controller. So they've also been hiring Sean Duffy, the transportation secretary, about 6 months ago. He was talking about an aggressive campaign to recruit new air traffic controllers.
They have been doing that.
Yeah, but it takes a long time to get them up and ready to go.
It's not like a one-day training sort of thing.
You go to school for this.
You do.
Yeah.
It takes some time and some effort and some investment into these people to get them ready to the point where you can put them in a tower.
Yeah.
So we actually have our good friend Dave.
Okay.
I don't think Susie's got to experience yet, but he has a couple thoughts about the whole government reopening and the programs that people have become too accustomed to.
Hey, Dave, what's up?
Hey, good morning, Susie. I'm sorry. I'm like about 10 shots of espresso on a day you don't want it, so I apologize.
I'm ready for you.
You know what? I know you are, because you're an attorney, and you guys are a lot smarter than me. So here's the question. I had I guess a debate with my wife, who's a lot smarter than me, and my daughter, who is too. And my daughter said something about they need to do something about childcare. I said, don't have kids. And they both got pissed. And I'm like, well, how is it that your mom and I made it work? My kids, my 3 youngest kids, never spent a moment in daycare. My wife and I never worked the same shift. Matter of fact, guess what? My youngest is 20. We still don't work the same shift.
Right.
Am I missing something? Because it's either up to the parents to make this work, or hopefully you have family members or friends. But if you're putting all your eggs in the basket for the government to help you, you're probably going to drown. Or am I missing the point, guys?
No, I don't think you are, Dave, because this is going back to, and I saw some of these memes on social media, and I typically don't quote memes, but there was really good one that says basically the government that is empowered to feed you is empowered to starve you. The government that is empowered to provide your healthcare is empowered to deny you healthcare. I mean, so when it comes to something like something like childcare, if you're relying on the government, aka everybody else, to provide the childcare for your kid, then you're giving the government to decide that your kid doesn't get cared for, when that's the parents and that's the family's job. If anything, these shutdowns should tell us the federal government has its tentacles in way too much of our lives in the first place. That's why I wanted a shutdown to happen, so people would realize that we should never be depending on the government, especially the federal government, for stuff like that.
No. And you know what's funny? You take the Demtards. I know it's not a popular word, Libby's, but just suck it and stay with it. The Demtards are the pro-abortion people, but now all of a sudden we're worried about childcare. You don't need childcare for a dead kid, which is what you people push.
Hey, I get it.
I mean, it's harsh, but that is a valid comeback to the concern that's being raised.
Well, it's also just this assumption that the left has, and I'll be really honest, too many on the right have this assumption that, well, we go to government to solve our problems. We go to government to fix things in our lives. No, I want government out of my life so that I don't have half the problems that are inflicted on me. And so I am able to deal with all of my problems on my own, and I can sink or I can swim. And if I sink, that's on me.
Quit outsourcing your responsibility.
You know what cards I like to throw down on the table for the idiots on both sides that say government's the answer? Let me see. The Department of Motor Vehicle sucks. Veterans Administration double sucks. The post office. Now, wait a minute. Let me take the post office. They always deliver all my crap mail, but I never get the stuff I need.
Dave, thanks so much again, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Have
Thanks,
a great
Dave.
day. Susie, welcome to the team, and I hope I wasn't too much this morning.
No, you're just fine.
Yeah, but that's the big picture here, because you look at all of the problems. Now, there's a case that I think a lot of libertarians like to make to say we need to just privatize air traffic control. Okay, in theory, is that possible? It's probably.
Maybe, yeah.
Is it practical? Is it ever going to happen?
No, I don't see that happening.
No. And because we meaning collectively have determined that this is critical infrastructure, which, obviously there's a case to be made for that. That type of thing shows the dysfunction of the government.
Yes.
But every other thing, when you're looking at people's lives and they're panicking because they don't know if they're going to be able to run their own life in their own house because they're so dependent on government, that shows you government is way, way, way too big.
It is. And I, like I was saying, it's you're outsourcing responsibility to others, trying to, I guess, maybe make your life easier, but all it does is make your life more complicated, because then you're dependent on others to come through, to be competent, to be, have your interests at heart.
Yeah.
Who better to do that than yourself?
I mean, think about the sticklers in Congress, whether you're on the left or the right. Let's pick out the people who basically throw a monkey wrench into things, whether it's for good or bad reason. Hakeem Jeffries, Rand Paul, Chuck Schumer. You could just throw them all in and Massey. I mean, you can look at all these people and say, wait a minute, that's not good enough. And we end up with a shutdown that lasts longer. You're allowing your life basic elements of your life to be controlled by people who don't know you, will never know you, have no vested interest in your actual life. And they're fighting over much bigger picture things. So if you're getting caught up in the current, it's because you chose to swim in the dependency.
That's exactly right. And again, we just listed 4 people, 2 of whom I generally agree with on a lot of things.
Absolutely.
But even so, I don't want them making the decisions for me.
And the thing is, those 2, Rand Paul and Thomas Massey, they don't want to make those decisions for your life either.
No, actually they don't.
That's what makes them different.
It's an interesting contrast between Rand Paul and Mitch McConnell.
Oh, very different.
Got to see that last night.
So that's what we're looking at right now in this primary season, which is why we look and saying, I would love to see a lot of people get elected based on a platform of elect me so I can leave you alone.
Yeah.
Elect me so I can cut back government so much that you can afford to live your own life.
And you can get your problems straightened out without me having to do it for you.
And if your life sucks, we'll know it's because of you.
That's the crux.
Right.
People don't want that.
No, they don't want that. Precisely.
Oh, no one wants that responsibility, I guess. I don't know.
So while everybody's going to be celebrating the government reopening, and I get it, I definitely wanted a shutdown, but for all of these reasons. To people drive home the point. Yeah.
I think it did. Yeah. I don't know that I would have wanted it to go on for 41 days or longer, but it is. I don't know. The Supreme Court is making news because of something it didn't do.
Yeah. This is interesting.
Yeah. We're going to talk about that when we come back here on NewsTalkSTL.
You are beautiful on the inside.
I think you all know that I've always felt the 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Run away.
The Vic Porcelli Show.
Vic for Vets presents our Military Veterans Day Extravaganza. That is all day Tuesday, so don't miss it.
Weekday mornings at 9
on News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Chance Koch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking temperatures a little bit chillier this morning, back towards the mid-20s to start back off. Then we're seeing winds increasing out of the southwest. Going to be a gusty afternoon. That'll help actually warm us into the mid-50s. Wind gusts could be close to 26 miles per hour, but a warmer breeze. As we head throughout the rest of the week, we'll continue a warming trend into the weekend. Friday and Saturday, temperatures towards mid-70s and chances of showers beginning Sunday. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Koch.
Hungry for the best steak you'll ever have? Head to the heart of Moscow Mills and discover Harry J's, a local landmark and family-owned steakhouse, serving up excellence since '98. From mouth-watering appetizers to decadent desserts, Harry J's has something for everyone. Enjoy our extensive bar selection while soaking in our friendly family atmosphere. Whether dine-in or carry-out, your meal is prepared to perfection. Make the drive to 300 Main Street and treat yourself to a taste of Moscow Mills' finest. Harry J's, more than a steakhouse. We're a tradition.
Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros and Exteriors, your all-in-one service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. Christine and I discovered Gutter Pros and Exteriors when we bought our home and inherited a gutter problem. And they've also repaired siding damage on our home because along with gutter repair, gutter installation, and leaf protection, the Gutter Pros team are also the best for repairing other exterior damage, including fascia, soffit, and all siding repair and installation. Learn about all the ways Gutter Pros and Exteriors can help your home or business right now at gutterpros.com.
It's that time of year. Pumpkin spice in the air, flannel everywhere, and Hallmark movies playing nonstop. All that's missing? A mattress that feels like a warm hug. Black Friday sales are on at Snooze. Save up to $500 on Tempur-Pedic Smart Base sets or melt into $600 off a Beauty Rest Black. We'll match it to your perfect bed with real Mayo Clinic pressure mapping because your sleep deserves a love story too. Locally owned, comfort obsessed. Come find your happily ever after in mattress form. If you don't snooze, you lose.
What happens next?
So we are closing up Democrat programs, and they're never going to open again.
Happens right here.
Democrats appear perfectly happy to keep the political theater going.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Good morning, Missouri. It's your boy, Joe Pags. I'll talk to you tonight at 10. But right now, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Okay, so from a legal perspective, was this much ado about nothing? Susie, you just mentioned the Supreme Court made news for what it did not do. And I was a little surprised at like all of the intense reaction when I didn't think they were going to take the case in the first place.
Well, the intense reaction wasn't about the fact that they didn't take the case because every Monday they issue their order list and it's 10 pages long and there's 100+ cases on there that they deny cert on. They declined to take, and no one knows much about any of those cases. The reaction was because this was the case that was such a hot button issue back at the time when Obergefell versus Hodges was first,
which by the way, that's the gay marriage case.
It is the gay marriage case. Yeah. They handed it down, I think, in 2015.
Yeah.
And then there was the fallout from that, which then resulted in this case eventually. But I mean, it was such a hot topic. And I think that there were some people who, well, I would say there were people, there might have been more people on the left that were kind of hoping they would take it up.
Really? I wonder why that is. Because I mean, when they declined it, they basically say, no, this ruling stands. We're not going to hear a challenge to it.
Yes. But if they took it up, that's another wedge issue to go into the 2026 election.
Okay. Because what we had here was basically Kim Davis, who was that county clerk in Kentucky. And she was appealing her case up there. Now, was she wasn't just appealing like the rulings against her. What was she actually appealing?
See, that's what I'm not. And at one point when I was reading up on the case, and this was maybe a year ago, I thought it was just that she was appealing her having been put in jail, and then losing her job, that sort of thing. And
she lost her job because she lost re-election.
Yeah, but then there was something else about them not letting her do her job. I don't know. I can't. There were other aspects of it, and then so that tangentially it brought the issue back into it. But I don't.
Kim Davis seems to be kind of a mess to me. It's just what it looks like to me.
I haven't gone and checked in on her in years, so I don't really know. I understand that she had a conscientious objection to it, but I also understand that maybe this was done, I don't know. And so I'm the wrong person to ask about this right now because it's been a while since I've looked at that case. I think there were some thoughts that it might then reopen the discussion about whether or not Obergefell was properly decided. Not is gay marriage good or bad, but whether the case, just like Roe versus Wade was overturned, because it's bad law. Not set aside your policy preferences. the way it was decided by the court was not sound.
Yeah, there were
jurisprudence.
even like full-on pro-abortion lawyers who went, yeah, that was a
Correct.
terrible decision from a legal perspective. It was an activist.
Exactly. So I think that might be the angle they were looking at, but then because it involves such a hot button issue, everyone just pounced on it and went with it. No, it's not surprising that they didn't take it up. I don't think that
I wasn't surprised at all. I was surprised more, like LGBT groups are celebrating I'm like, did anybody actually think they were going to take this? I mean, listen, gay marriage, for good or for ill, whatever you think of it, that ship sailed 10 years ago.
Yeah, I don't think that bell's going to be unrung.
We're not going. We're not going back.
I don't even think if you put the issue square before this court, you'd get 5 votes to overturn it. I don't. So yeah, I think this was maybe much ado about nothing.
Yeah, I just found the reaction interesting. You know, all these kinds of headlines. I think they were trying to make something out of it that just wasn't there. But your thought on that makes a lot more sense when, you know, the Democrats are like, "Ooh, we can fire everybody up on this again."
Correct.
I remember one time I was chatting with somebody from the ACLU. You know, I don't know if he still works there or not, but it had to do with the gay marriage cases. Now, we were off air because I was getting ready to interview him on one of my TV episodes, and they were filing a lawsuit in whatever state over gay marriage. And I mentioned the question. I said, I said, you know, at that time, the polling was against gay marriage in a very, very overwhelming way.
Right.
And I remember he just very matter-of-factly, just as a lawyer, said, "Oh, we don't care." He said, "Once we get the court ruling that changes it, public opinion always follows." And that was his take, is like, we don't care what, you know, what the public thinks of it. We get the win, and people adapt to the new reality.
And I do think that's true in a lot of cases. Obviously, you could make the argument that that's not true in all cases. So yeah, and this is where my big libertarian streak came in. Back when this was the big fight, I was like, look, I understand from a theological, faith-based perspective what the objection is to this. If you are going to have the government issue licenses for people to marry, then it needs to be equitable across the board as far as, you know, that sort of thing. So you can't say, you know, this couple can, this couple can't, recognizing there can be some age restrictions.
Yes.
But that was my argument. And every time I said, well, get government out of the business of marriage.
Yeah.
Everyone looked at me like I had 2 heads. I'm like, why do you need a license to be married?
Let's do a history lesson. The first laws starting to regulate marriage started in the South. Where did they come from, and why did they start?
Miscegenation laws.
Yep. That's what they were, because the church was, at the time, many churches, not all of them, were as racist as anybody else. And they didn't want to be the bad guy by saying you can't marry this person because you're white and she's black, or you're black and she's white, or whatever the case is. And so, well, let's just, hey, government did it. Government doesn't allow it. So this was handed off as part of I mean, you look at many of the lousy laws that restrict our rights, first gun control laws, Jim Crow laws, you know, the government stepping into marriage, because remember, before that, you just had a preacher record it in the Bible, and the preachers or whoever it was that married you, they had the ability to go, "No, I'm not marrying you. I'm not for this."
And the flip side of that is there's no way that you should be forcing a religious institution to sanction your marriage if they don't believe in it. So, you know, go get married at the courthouse, do whatever. But yeah, if you're going to have the government involved, then it needs to be equal access across the board.
I mean, that's just a constitutional thing. I mean, that doesn't mean that you like it or even that it's good or bad for society.
Those are separate arguments.
Yeah, those are completely different things. And I'm not, you know, I've got I see it the way you see it, is that I've got my faith-based view of it, but then when it comes to the government side of it, if the government's involved, okay, so now let's follow a rabbit trail.
Okay,
let's do that.
Uh-oh.
Now
Buckle up, folks.
now there's an argument that's saying, well, limiting marriage to only 2 people is arbitrary,
right?
So why not allow polyamorous?
So right now, you can engage in a polyamorous relationship.
Correct.
If you want there to be contractual legal obligations between, you can draw up a contract.
Yep.
Consenting adults can write up a contract that says, we're going to do this, this, and this. There's nothing preventing you from doing that.
Should the government recognize a 3 or more person marriage on
I'm coming up with
the same logic as recognizing gay marriage? Because that's the slippery slope
Right.
argument that
The
we heard.
slippery slope argument. So there's a couple different avenues there. There's the age restriction avenue.
Yep.
There's the familial restriction avenue, and then there's the more than two. And it's been a while since I've done this mental exercise. But so basically, because it involves such a fundamental right, there's a strict scrutiny standard applied to it, and they say, having an age restriction passes muster. You can limit it based on, to basically for public policy reasons. You don't want minors being married off, and that sort of thing. So if you can show that the interest is sufficient enough, I don't know that you can make the case that it's sufficient enough for a multi-person relationship. I just don't know that there's that big of a push for it either.
Right. Yeah. And it's, there are people who they get a lot of people watching them on social media.
Sure.
But I don't think there's a massive move for this. But that was part of the slippery slope argument that we heard, all those years ago.
It is, and it's an important intellectual exercise to engage in if you want to approach this from a rational standpoint. I feel like I'm a veteran of the gay marriage wars, because back in the day, this was something that people argued about on political message boards for years and years and years and years and years. I think it's good to have those conversations, but I still think that the bottom line is this: why does the government need to give you a license to get married?
Yeah. Yep. I see it as well. Interesting update here. The International Olympic Committee.
Yeah.
They have decided in a couple of years, the Olympics is going to go back to men competing against men and women competing against women.
Mm-hmm.
Radical.
Crazy.
Radical thought.
Yeah. Kind of like back to the days where they were saying you can't have too much testosterone. If
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So it looks like, and I honestly, I lost interest in the Olympics a while back, but we do Olympics every 2 years.
Well, yeah, because we do the winter 1 year and then the summer 2 years later.
So the Olympics that are coming up next year, whatever, are those winter or summer? I don't know. I don't care.
Gosh, the last ones were in France. Those were winter Olympics,
Okay,
I think.
so
I think
this-
it's summer.
Yeah. So it's
No,
apparently
No, because gymnastics is summer.
gymnastics is summer. Yes.
And what's her face?
Simone Biles.
Simone Biles, who got the twisties.
Yes.
Wasn't that just in 20?
That was because we were already on the air.
Well, but that's 2022.
Oh, yeah.
2024. I think it is summer.
Okay.
Sorry.
So it's not fully the new. Apparently, they're going to announce the change in February.
Mm-hmm.
The Daily Mail is reporting that the IOC is basically phasing back to just gender reality.
Mm-hmm.
And by the 2028 Olympics, they will be back to men versus men, women versus women, regardless of how you dress or identify or whatever.
You do you, but you compete with your biological sex.
Precisely. So is there a bigger picture that says, okay, the momentum is going the right direction globally on this? Because the IOC, and the thing is that they could not explain away the dude in the boxing matches who was just cracking skulls of the poor women that had to fight him.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that one was a weird case too, because that was actually, there's a genetic anomaly there, but because of the testosterone levels and stuff, that person qualifies as a biological male, but there is a genetic anomaly involved there, as I recall.
Oh man. Yeah.
So it's not just a matter of this person living life as a woman and not being one.
Sorry. We going back to the marriage license things real quick. Stephanie says that she likes the idea of marriage license because of the genealogy thing. But besides that, I mean, it makes it easier for people to track like their, history and their ancestry, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
But going into this, did we ever find out? Because I heard that there was a leak of that boxer. I can't remember the name of the boxer, but the one that was like whooping butt left and right. That there was a leak of the medical reports.
There was
confirming that was indeed an individual that was not.
He has an extra chromosome, or she, whatever, has an extra chromosome. And the reason that they would not qualify to compete as a female under these rules is because of the level, like the hormone levels and stuff. Genuinely, as I understand it, that person has lived their life as a female, not because they're trans, but because that's how they've lived their life. But there is a genetic anomaly there.
Well, which highlighted the problem.
Yeah.
Well, and then because I took genetics classes in college and we learned a little bit about that. And that's sort of the unfortunate thing is a lot of the people, they have this a little bit of an advantage over a natural born female, but they go their entire lives not knowing. And then same thing with if it was a man to female sort of thing. The only way to get around that, of course, is to test. But when you have people that are trying to hide trans athletes, then you can't test for that. So then you have instances where they're just kicking butt. And
I think it makes sense to go back to what they're going to do.
Right. Yep. So by 2028, though, that's when it should be back to some semblance of normal.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Now, what we should also be trying to normalize, though, is food drives and participation in them. The St. Louis County GOP food drive is going on right now. We are promoting it and we are actually involved with it. So there are a couple of different locations that you can find. Just go to NewsTalkSTL.com. It should be one of our rotating banners. You can find all the different locations. Please show up, drop off some food, and show people that they don't need to be as reliant as government for their food when they have a caring community.
Hey, Beats Hooray, I'm your only true friend now. Hey.
If you have a phone, you have a radio. Download the all-new News Talk STL app
Love the all-new NewsTalkSTL app.
and listen anytime, anywhere.
Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9, right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
This holiday season, help Feed My People fill the shelves. News Talk STL and the STL County GOP are partnering for an annual food drive, November 10th through December 21st. Drop off your non-perishable food donations at all Bartolino's restaurants, all Chris's Pancakes and dining locations, and all 3 Michael's flooring outlets, or at the News Talk STL studios.
Hey, it's Susie Moore, and together we can make a difference for families in need.
Visit NewsTalkSTL.com for complete drop-off locations. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at Stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Bill O'Reilly here. Check out the O'Reilly Update this afternoon at 3:45. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
All right. The federal government will soon be back to its normal level of dysfunction.
Yay.
As opposed to the current excessive level of dysfunction.
Okay.
The bonus level of dysfunction.
Yeah. You take what you can get.
Man. All right. And the 7 o'clock hour, because we had some folks talking about this in the Rumble chat box. Left-wing violence. Yeah, that's still a thing. We had kind of all hell break loose again in another TP USA, another Turning Point USA event. And our food drive off to a great start. You just heard Jerome talking about that.
Yeah.
It is 6:49 right now. I think that means it's time for a news dump.
Successful dump. Wake up, America. It all worked out. They get all the news.
The Morning News Dump.
All right. The Senate votes to end the longest running government shutdown in U.S. history. This update from correspondent Bernie Bennett.
On this vote, the ayes are 60, the nays are 40. The bill as amended is passed.
The shutdown could last a few more days as members of the House, which has been in recess since mid-September, return to Washington to vote on the legislation. President Donald Trump has signaled support for the bill, saying Monday that, quote, "We're going to be opening our country very quickly." The Senate voted 47-53 along party lines not to extend Affordable Health Care Act subsidies for a year. Majority Republicans allowed the vote as part of a separate deal with Democrats to speed up votes and send the legislation to the House. Bernie Bennett, Washington.
Okay. And so once again, the House has to clear that as well. I suspect that'll be this week.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, Mike Johnson has been very adamant all week long that we think they're going to do this. If they're going to do this, we're going to vote this week.
Yeah.
He hasn't said specifically when. The thought is it's going to be Wednesday. That also is dependent, of course, on them getting all of their members back in DC, which hopefully they're managing to do.
Yeah. All right. Boeing increases the ratification bonus offer for striking employees, and this is in their latest offer. The company is now offering $6,000 ratification bonus for each employee, saying that is based on feedback from the union members who have been on strike since August 4th. The increased bonus takes the place of stock offerings that were made in an offer the previous offer. The company has already hired some replacement workers, and they called them permanent replacement workers. But it is offering to guarantee that all striking International Association of Machinist workers will get their jobs back if they return by November 17th. And they made it very clear that part of the offer is not forever.
No. And I get it. That something's got to give here. They're offering a very generous package.
Yeah, they are.
They're incentivizing it even further, and they're giving a deadline. I think it'll be interesting to see if that breaks things open.
Right, because the rest of the offer didn't really change.
No.
So 3,200-ish union workers are on strike here. Okay, so we have yet another increase in Border Patrol agents being threatened. As they carry out immigration enforcement orders, particularly in Chicago. This time we had shots fired at federal agents happening over the weekend. Customs and Border Patrol Chief Patrol Agent Greg Bovino was on Fox's America Reports, and he was reacting to the announcement that a suspect was arrested in that situation of shots fired.
This is indeed an illegal alien that had a prior felony conviction for firearms.
Yeah. So he was in the country illegally and had already been convicted. So not only was he out of jail, but he was still in the country.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
This is why this is an 80-20 issue in favor of the Republicans, and Democrats could gain some of that if they would just live in reality.
Yeah. That's apparently a tall order.
Apparently it is.
Well, it's like they say, the only thing that stops a bad illegal with a gun is a good illegal with a gun, right?
Oh, jeez.
Oh, my goodness. Interior Secretary Doug Burgum was on America Reports on Fox, saying President Trump's strategy to keep the price of oil and gas low is working, and that he's keeping his promise based on energy abundance.
This meant for us to be able to have so much energy, sell it to our friends and allies so they can stop buying from adversaries like Russia and Iran, have so much energy that we can have prosperity at home. So all of his initiatives around the Middle East, around the world, is really about energy diplomacy. Again, prosperity at home, peace abroad.
AAA says the national average price for a gallon of regular gasoline is right around $3.07. And so this part of President Trump's administration is 100% working as promised.
I was just going to say, overall, there's a couple of exceptions, but overall, I really like this cabinet. I mean, I think that the people that were chosen for those positions, for the most part, were well done. And I like Doug Burgum in this role, and I like him and Chris Wright kind of tag teaming on energy.
Yeah, there's a lot there. But the energy part, I mean, it's what's interesting is that the first thing the Biden administration did was basically start choking off energy.
Yeah.
And that began the domino effect that caused so many different problems. And so one of the first things the Trump administration did, undo that, and that began the domino effect to fix some of the problems.
It makes a big difference, and we will see that over time too. It's not something that it's immediate, but we are seeing it here. I did see the thing that, like, the nationwide gas prices, Missouri is definitely one of the lower states. We're in the dark blue range, which is good.
Yep, it is. And of course, some of that has to do with the distribution. Is we're basically close enough to a lot of distribution. The cost to get it here is
we're
lower.
conveniently located.
We are. That's right. Okay, President Trump threatening to sue the BBC over the way the network edited a speech that he made for broadcast.
In a letter to Britain's public broadcaster, the president's lawyers said the BBC must retract its documentary by November 14th or face a lawsuit for no less than $1 billion. The network came under fire for cutting out a section of Donald Trump's speech on January 6, 2021, when he said he wanted supporters to demonstrate peacefully at the U.S. Capitol. Over the weekend, the head of the BBC and the news CEO both resigned, calling the edit an error of judgment. Greg Clugston, Washington.
See, an error in judgment sounds so innocuous. Well, we had good intentions, but we used the wrong words. That's an error in judgment. That's not what happened.
I misspoke.
Yeah.
We misspoke. No, you lied.
I thought this happened in February. Turned out it was January. No, that's not what happened.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Yeah, you just made, it wasn't even that you made stuff up. There is such a thing as a lie of omission, and it changed the entire context.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, there's freedom of the press, freedom of speech, but that comes with a responsibility.
I think they're probably going to take it down.
Oh, I suspect.
I don't think they want to face that lawsuit.
Which means somebody's, now it's just going to be, they're going to be playing whack-a-mole on YouTube for it. It'll still be out there. But yeah, still. But yeah, I don't see how they have a choice. And this is just being held to account, for essentially, and it's funny because the BBC, which you've got, if you're over in the UK, you've got, BBC -1, -2, whatever. I mean, there's a lot of them. And they have a lot of very, very good programming, but everybody pays for it. So basically PBS runs the airwaves, their version of PBS. BBC runs the airwaves out there. And in this case right here, they were just caught being activist and very dishonest activist at that.
Yeah. Well, and they're going to pay a price for it one way or the other.
Yep. All right. On this Veterans Day, you're going to see tributes to many of those who served on billboards throughout the metro area. KMOV's Morgan Harris explains.
This is part of the Heroes Across America campaign. They'll be displaying images of veterans on 19 digital billboards around St. Louis, from St. Charles County to the Metro East. You'll see them on many of the major interstates through Friday.
And Lamar Advertising is coordinating the displays. So while you're seeing, billboard ads for whatever, at some point they're going to pop up and you're going to see thank you to, and there's going to be a serviceman or man or woman who is thanked, and they're right here in the St. Louis area.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Love that idea.
And a little bit later, there are several places throughout the metro area that are doing, basically token thank yous to veterans. So vets, listen up.
Today's your day.
Your day. So we're going to have some of that, where you can go and,
Awesome.
it's a token, but still it shows the community cares.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll do that here in just a little bit. Okay. The Blues are back at home tonight. They host the Flames at Enterprise. Puck drops at 7:00. Okay. Blues are 5-8-3. Calgary is 4-11-2. So Calgary actually has a worse record than the Blues.
Battle of the losing teams.
So you're saying there's a chance.
Exactly.
There's a chance.
Slim chance.
There's a chance.
Maybe.
Yeah. So, and FanDuel.
Blues.
Yeah.
Let's go Blues.
That's right. FanDuel and the Blues app is where you'll see that game if you want to see that game. I'm just picturing 5-8-3, 4-11-2. I would not expect the sharpest skated game in the NHL at Enterprise. I'm just saying.
Maybe they'll surprise us.
Maybe they will surprise us. Kind of like the two negatives can create a positive.
Yeah, maybe
on there. But hey, you know what? 2019 at the All-Star break, Blues were in last place.
It's true.
And they won the cup.
It's true.
It can happen.
It can happen.
Is it likely to happen? No, but it can happen. We've seen it.
Calling Gloria.
Columbo here for my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton. The knowledgeable staff at Bluff City has served the St. Louis outdoor community for decades, and they can take care of all your bow hunting needs, all your trapping needs, all your fishing needs, and more. Plus, while you're there, you can schedule a trip with a local fishing guide and shoot in their archery range. Bluff City Outdoors is open 7 days a week, 1 mile east of Fast Eddie's at 2813 East Broadway in Alton. Follow them on Facebook and at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
When it comes to spending your tax dollars and teaching your kids, governments and school districts should be an open book. But in Missouri, that's not always the case. Recently, the Show Me Institute sent out a sunshine law request to school districts across the state, asking for information on whether certain topics are being taught. Specifically, a controversial one called critical race theory was included in the list. Many districts didn't respond. Some wanted to charge large fees to process the documents. Lee's Summit outside Kansas City wanted over $35,000. A rural district, Morgan County, wanted $15,000. The Sunshine Law does allow charging a reasonable fee for sending out information, but there's nothing reasonable about $35,000 or $15,000. These districts should want to be transparent about their curriculums. Taxpayers deserve to know what their kids are being taught. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. Passed by the Senate last night, a bill to end the government shutdown now goes to the House, where lawmakers could take it up as soon as tomorrow. Meanwhile, air travel disruptions persist.
Air travelers can expect cancellations and delays to worsen this week.
We were supposed to fly out of New York Airport yesterday at LaGuardia at 5 o'clock, and we got delayed until 9 p.m., and then they canceled the flight and sent us here to reroute through Denver.
The FAA is moving ahead with deeper reductions in flight schedules at 40 major airports, at least 1,000 more on the books for Tuesday. Amy Lark and her husband are both air traffic controllers.
Uncertainty and that financial strain is becoming unbearable.
Unpaid for more than a month, some air traffic controllers have begun calling out of work. On social media, President Trump posted, "Get back to work now." I'm Ben Thomas.
Forget about what the calendar says. It feels and looks like winter across a wide swath of the Midwest, Great Lakes, and the South. It's cold as far south as Florida, and up north in some places, quite a bit of snow on the ground. It's Veterans Day.
I think as we celebrate Veterans Day, the 11th month, the 11th day, back in 1918 when World War I ended, it was a time to celebrate peace after significant carnage in Europe.
Our military affairs analyst, retired Lieutenant Colonel Robert McGinnis. President Trump will honor those who served and paid the ultimate price.
In commemoration of this national holiday, the president will pay tribute to America's fallen military service members. This morning, he'll participate in a wreath-laying ceremony at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier at Arlington National Cemetery, followed by a Veterans Day speech.
And that's White House correspondent Craig Clugston. On Wall Street this morning, stock futures are mixed. Dow futures up 14 points. NASDAQ futures down 128. S&P futures off 18 points. More on these stories, townhall.com.
Dennis Prager here for AmFed Coin and Bullion. I've always been a strong believer in precious metals investment, and I've always been fascinated with rare coin collecting. But owning the wrong coins that only make dealers a lot of money can be catastrophic for your investment portfolio. AmFed Coin and Bullion specializes in taking people out of non-performing coin portfolios and turning them into gold, silver, or platinum bullion. They tailor a portfolio based on your goals and not what they want to sell you. You'll never experience scare tactics, misleading hype, or high-pressure sales from owner Nick Grovich and his very knowledgeable staff. They will evaluate your portfolio, show you how your coins have performed, and take the time to educate you on the ugly industry practices so that you can make an informed decision. Smart people can make very bad investments when they're under pressure and lack the facts. Call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. AmericanFederal.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Chance Koch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking temperatures a little bit chillier this morning, back towards mid-20s to start back off. Then we're seeing winds increasing out of the southwest. Going to be a gusty afternoon. That'll help actually warm us into the mid-50s. Wind gusts could be close to 26 miles per hour, but a warmer breeze. As we head throughout the rest of the week, we'll continue a warming trend into the weekend. Friday and Saturday, temperatures towards mid-70s and chances of showers beginning Sunday. In the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Koch.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Your business moves fast. PRI Global keeps it moving smarter for almost 30 years, delivering top tech talent to help companies grow stronger, custom applications, simplifying your operations, securing your data, modernizing your business from the cloud up. And with Prismatic, you're going to get real-time insights, automated workflows, people, process, platform. PRI Global delivers all three. PRIGlobal.com.
Steff's Pizza. You know the name. They're famous for their St. Louis-style pizza. But don't forget their party platters for the holidays. Steff's sandwiches, pasta, and pizza are always big hits at any get-together. And the party platters make it easy. 3 great locations, St. Peter's on Jargaman, in St. Charles on Zumbill, and their newest location in Lake St. Louis at 111 Pondfort Trail. Check them out at SteffsPizza.com, SteffsPizza.com. And remember, tonight's a good night for Steff's Pizza.
Mike Ferguson.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Susie Moore.
They look very aggressive. I think they want to beat me up.
Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice, drain the swamp, and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin.
You know, this time of year brings out the best in a lot of people, just because it's the holiday season, and but occasionally it brings out the worst.
Oh,
yeah,
Grinchy.
I'll get to that in just a second here. By the way, our food drive off to a very strong start. NewsTalkSTL.com is where you're going to get the details on that. I'm telling you, yesterday after our show was over, I'm just kind of sitting there in my desk area, working on today's show,
just sitting there,
just doing my thing. And one of our bosses, Joe, says, "Hey, Mike, I need your help with something." Sure, what you got? Well, we had a couple people just drive up yesterday morning, like, we heard about the food drive, help me pull all this food out of the trunk, and they had just cases and cases of soup and all sorts of
that's awesome.
meats and pastas and all that, and it was great. So we've got a bin out here. We've got a bin out here in front of the radio station, just off of Westline in Chaffee, in Maryland Heights, and of course Bartolino's and Michael's Flooring Outlets and Chris's Pancake.
Mm-hmm.
So you go to any of those locations and you can drop off the non-perishable food drives. It's all going to help feed my people's ministry here in St. Louis. This is News Talk STL. This is the St. Louis County GOP Central Committee working together. It has nothing to do with politics.
No.
And so again, I'm going to put the challenge out there. Hey, whatever group you're in, ball team, church, youth group, anything, knitting club, whatever it is that you have, challenge yourselves to come up with one box full of food and drop it off the food drive. Yep.
Absolutely see what you do. And you remember, like, toothpaste, toothbrushes, those are welcome too.
Yep. Because we tend to forget those sometimes, but the personal hygiene items are really, they're definitely needed as well. Okay, who steals from a church, especially in the holidays? Yeah,
losers, demons.
I saw this on Channel 2's website. This is nuts. Okay, so the St. Luke Missionary Baptist Church in the city, they've got a pantry, and they've been basically helping people in a rough area, economically depressed area,
right,
for a long time. So I thought the church had been around longer than that. It's actually been here since 1985.
Okay.
So it's a very
40
well-established
years.
church. Yeah, that's a long time. But they've been hit 3 times with break-ins and thefts, cleaning out their pantries. So the stuff that goes to those in need in the urban core, thieves have hit them 3 times, and now they got cleaned out.
I'm sure the thieves would justify it by saying they're in need.
Yeah. Well, wait till they open up and they'll give you something.
I know. Oh, that just makes me so mad.
Yeah. So I'm looking at Channel 2's story on this. And one thing that jumped out at me, church officials, I'm just reading the story. Church officials say thieves stole food and left the church with shelves nearly empty just days before they planned to feed families for Thanksgiving. And get this next paragraph, though. Quoting, "My first thought was, I hope it's somebody who needs it," says Carlton McKinney Jr. at St. Luke Memorial Missionary Baptist Church. That's a better mindset than I would have.
No, but I know exactly what he means.
Yeah, I do too.
I hope it's somebody who needs it for themselves and isn't just taking it so they can turn around and sell it.
Yeah. So maybe a little optimistic. It's definitely the right thing to say. Which is why I don't work in ministry, because I do not have that kind of gracious attitude.
It is a gracious attitude, but
Yes.
even so, you don't steal it. Doesn't work that way.
$4,000 worth of food and supplies were stolen. They are probably not going to find who did it.
No.
So, but they broke in. So, I mean, they like kicked in doors, broke windows, all that sort of stuff. And so they've not only are they wanting to replace the stuff, but now they've got to repair the building, and they're taking on all that cost as well.
Gosh. Oh, that makes me so mad.
Yeah.
I just want to find whoever did that and just like string them up by their toenails.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mean to be too like unchristian, but I hope whoever stole it walks around barefoot and steps on Legos.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think
like a lot of them. with the pointy
Lego
edges.
justice is mine, saith the Lord,
That's
right?
right. Yeah, but I mean, and
No, I hope they're attacked by a huge pang of massive guilt, and it prompts them to turn their lives around
Right.
like Saul on the road to Damascus.
yeah, and
That's what I hope. Darn it.
And here's the thing: it's why, if you're going to steal something and you're going to steal all this food, why target the church? Well, probably because
It's easy access.
it's easy access. They probably don't. I don't know what kind of security they've got, and it's a church in the urban core, which means that they probably don't have fancy cameras and all that kind of stuff. You're not even going to break into like the Dollar General because there's cameras everywhere. So they go and target a church.
It's just low life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really, really is.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So that's where some of the worst is. And so my guess is that some of the best then will follow. And around St. Louis, I have a feeling that there's probably going to be, some people try to step up and help.
I think so. Yeah. It's the right thing to do.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
same thing we're doing, in St. Louis County and Jefferson County, they'll do that there as well. But good God, I'm trying to picture, I mean, I because I'm not a criminal, I'm having a little trouble getting into the mindset, like trying to understand what they're seeing when they do that. I mean, but I'm trying to think, all right, hey, Jerome, I really want that turkey. They've got that food there. Hey, this church has got it. Let's kick in the door of the church. Let's go.
Great idea, Mike.
I like the raspy voices, the bad guy voices.
Yeah.
Like you said, you could show up during their regular operating hours and get the food for free.
Yeah.
You could do that without damaging the property. You
Yeah.
could do that without being a low life scumbag. You're choosing not to do that.
So, given the amount that is being reported in losses, and being the fact it was not strictly food, but some so-called supplies, I couldn't see in the article. And given the fact that I have at one point been at a point where it was me and the other people in the community that needed to be able to line up. I don't want to be too doom and gloom, but I'm going to go on a limb and say that this is not somebody that probably frequently goes to that area to get assistance. And it's not somebody that's probably, if you are at a point where you're reliant very much on the charity and goodwill and food banks of others, then you understand here are the times where it's open and closed, and you understand the importance of being respectful of those establishments because they feed you and the people in your situation around you. I don't want to, again, be too doom and gloom, but I have seen and heard stories from people where they don't really, they do it just for the thrill of doing it.
Yeah.
And they bust in there and they say, oh, well, here's something I could probably sell to the pawn shop, or here's something I could sell to a buddy of mine. And then we need to cover our tracks. So let's just grab some food, because then they'll think it's one of the people of the one of the starving people or hungry people doing it. And unfortunately, that's just the sad reality of the world we live in.
Too bad they didn't stumble across the thing of holy water and get burned.
Yes.
I'm going to go out on a limb and think say the people that did this haven't spent enough time in a church.
Yeah, that's a safe assumption right there. Okay, today's Veterans Day.
It is.
There are a lot of businesses around the St. Louis area that are offering thank yous to the veterans today. So I got a long list here.
Oh, right.
Let's run through a couple of them here.
Okay.
Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah.
They are offering veterans and military service members a free donut.
That's nice.
Yeah, get a free donut there. Krispy Kreme. Veterans and military service members offered a free donut and a hot or iced coffee as well. And you may say this is all. Listen, it's a token. It's a thank you. I'm not saying it. You don't
It's
sign
your
up to
special
serve.
day.
Yeah.
You should get
right.
honored in some way. That's okay. Free donuts, free coffee. Take it.
Yep, exactly. Let's see here. Olive Garden. They are offering veterans a free dinner from a special menu, and that includes the breadsticks, the salad, and the choice pasta.
Hey, that's pretty good.
That is. I'm saying veterans, go take advantage of it. What you should be
would.
able to do is like start in the morning and just make the rounds, and you can be
You
stuffed
map
by
out your
the end of the
day.
day.
Map out your day to eat for free all day and be thanked.
And
that sounds like a good way to do it.
I'm not mad at you for doing it. You earned
No, absolutely not.
it. Lion's Choice, but I don't know what you
Oh,
wanna
come
go with.
on now, Mike. What's their offer?
Free original sandwich.
Hey, that's good.
Show your military ID, free original sandwich.
They have turkey sandwiches too.
They do and that's when that is when Lion's Choice is thrust upon me by my wife because she loves Lion's Choice. I just do the turkey.
Yeah, I love your
And then
wife.
I put the
She's a smart woman.
She is. I just do the I just do the barbecue sauce on it.
Okay.
There.
See?
So we'll go throughout the morning here, and we'll list a few of those throughout the day. A couple different news stories. I found this one on Channel 4. They've got a list. There's a lot of them. We won't get to all of them today. But, is it a token? Yeah, it's just a token. But, that's part of the businesses and part of the community's way of just saying thank you.
Well, I think it's a great way to say thank
Yep.
you.
Yep.
And I think if I were a veteran, I would be taking full advantage of it.
And proudly so.
Absolutely.
As they should, without a doubt.
Agree. Leftist extremism is rearing its ugly head. We saw more of that just recently. We're going to talk about that when we come back at 7:20.
Try to make me stop. No inspiration. You have a soul so
We're at that time of year where people start having holiday parties and going to other people's houses, and maybe you go and you check it out and you think, wow, I really like the way they did their flooring here. Maybe we should do that for our house. If you're thinking about changing up your flooring, I have the place for you. It's Michael's Flooring Outlet. They are a locally owned and operated family business for more than 30 years, so you can count on them. I've used them in the past. I had a great experience with them, and you will too. Whether it's carpet or hardwood or luxury vinyl, ceramic tile, whatever you're looking for, Michael's has it. And with Michael's, your installation is going to be done right the first time because it's being done by the experts at Michael's, not some random subcontractor. With Michael's, you get the best combination ever. You get great value and great quality. So if you are in the market for new flooring, if you're thinking it's about time for you to spruce up your home, go check out Michael's. You can shop in store at one of their 3 locations on Olive and Creve Coeur, on Town Square in Darting Prairie, or on Main Street in St. Peters. Or you can just go online to igotfloored.com.
On the next Larry Connors USA. With Larry Connors USA, you get news, analysis, opinion, and education. Larry Connors USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Jamie Allman here, tossing and turning over retirement worries. You're not alone. 3 out of 4 Americans share your concern about having enough saved. But here's the thing. A comfortable retirement isn't out of reach, even if you're planning for 30 or 40 years ahead. Every day, Jeff Portman from the Gemini Wealth Group helps people avoid the critical mistakes that can derail their retirement. Build your path to financial confidence. Visit GeminiWealthGroup.com or call Jeff directly at 314-888-0123.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor. Member FINRA SIPC.
Yes, it's been really hot and humid, but fall and winter right around the corner. Tim Jones here to tell you, time to get a hold of Chad Hansen and the gang at Hansen's Tree Service for your home or your business. Grinding, land clearing, green waste recycling, tree consulting, removal, or pruning. The organic mulch from Hansen's a wonderful addition to beautify and spruce up all your landscape beds. They offer substantial volume discounts for bulk orders and emergency tree removal. Just go to hansenstree.com. That's hansenstree.com.
1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Live and local.
Listen to what those local folks are telling you.
News Talk STL.
Hey folks, Jamie Allman here, waiting for you for the 3 Martini Lunch, the Common Sense Radio, the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Now back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, left-wing violence continues. This time, I should say, again, at Berkeley. This happened again.
Berkeley.
Yeah. By the way, good thing we have a clearinghouse of all things conservative.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Yes, we do. So, Susie, what is hot on RedState.com?
Well.
Yeah, just go ahead. Yeah.
Well, let me tell you what's hot on RedState.com. We do have an article up about what's going on in Berkeley. Yeah. But I also wanted to highlight this, since it's Veterans Day. We've got an article up about a 102-year-old veteran who's making his big screen debut in a new Christmas movie that celebrates the military.
Wow.
It's a movie called The Christmas Ring. It's in theaters. It's coming out in theaters. And they wanted extras. They wanted military members to be extras. And this 102-year-old World War II veteran showed up for it and became like this star. He actually has like a more than just a, passing by. He actually interacts with the star of the movie now. And it his name. What did I lost his name here? Anyway, Mr. Daniels. I know it's Daniels is his last name. Anyway, it's a really great story. This one was written by Katie Jerkovich. Want you to check that one out. We also have a great piece up by Shipwrecked Crew, also known as Bill Shipley, who I've had on as a guest before here on the air. It's called "Federal Judges' Rapid Fire Rulings Against Trump Administration Are Unlike Anything Seen Before." What he does is run down particularly 4 different cases and show the speed with which these federal district judges, which normally do not move that quickly, have moved in an effort to thwart the Trump administration. It's great piece. So check that one out as well. Last one I want to point out is one by Bob Hogue. Florida AG Youthmeyer is coming hard after JP Morgan Chase over insidious efforts to debank conservatives. This is a big deal. So
we thought
check that out.
We thought the debanking thing had run its course, but apparently not.
Well, I think this is maybe the fallout. This is maybe the after effect. So I don't know if this is ongoing, but they are probing what happened with some of these debanking instances, and they're putting some heat on them.
Well, because a version of that happened to our own Paul Kurtman. Remember a few years ago?
I remember the event.
With him, with the Donald Trump Jr. event, and Bill Eigel. Him and Bill Eigel had that event.
Yep.
And, that was a last minute thing, and that jacked up the whole thing. And they had to change the date. They had, it was really a mess.
It was a big deal with Chase. We wrote about that at RedState even then.
Yep, exactly. So okay, so Turning Point USA goes to Berkeley. Now that when you go to Berkeley, you're going to have a whole lot of people who disagree with you.
That's the whole point.
That's the point.
That's where the free speech movement was really, was the genesis of it.
Bottom line is Antifa does not want people exploring ideas.
No.
How ugly did this get? You mentioned there's an article on this on RedState right now, actually, which is where I found out what had happened was on redstate.com. How ugly did this get?
Pretty ugly. Jennifer O'Connell wrote that one up, and they attacked the attendees pretty brutally. It looks like there was all kinds of video of it. It was kind of coming out later in the evening last night, and I'd been watching the Senate all day, so I didn't dial in and look at all the videos. But they really got very, very aggressive with these attendees, and it was not pretty.
No. And at one point, somebody was basically, they have a junker car that backfires. And so they were intentionally backfiring, which made everybody think the shots were being fired. And so, and we could go in here's why Antifa is just a bunch of, thugs and scums of the earth. And they are, but we already know that.
Yeah.
And so the bigger picture here, 2 pictures. One is this is using force or the threat of violence or violence to stop a political or a cultural, that by definition is terrorism. By definition, that's terrorism. And that's what Antifa's doing.
And it kind of goes along with that First Liberty suit that you were talking about earlier with the
Code Pink.
You have the right to speak, but when you are taking it across the line and disrupting other people's rights, there's a problem.
And another aspect that's part of the big picture here is that these Antifa wannabes, they're never held accountable. They're basically allowed to do this because that if a bunch of conservatives ran out there and started fighting back, they're the ones getting arrested.
Absolutely.
They're the ones getting charged. But we see this over and over and over. And to this day, I do not understand why the left is allowed to commit that kind of violence, because they have a very good chance of never, ever facing any consequences for it.
Because in a lot of areas, the people that are running the justice system, the prosecutors, even the police, are overseen by people with progressive ideals.
Yeah.
And they're just willing to turn a blind eye to it. And it's, we've seen the stuff out of Portland. There was a couple months ago, there was a big to-do because, they were making all kinds of noise. And there was a woman that went out and confronted them and was like, enough. I need to sleep. You're disrupting my peace. And she ended up going viral over that. And the police are just sort of like, because that's what they've been, basically told, ordered to do. And I don't even know why you'd want to be a police officer at that point.
Oh, right. Well, because the Antifa hates them, as well.
Yeah. So,
but they use them for their own protection.
They do.
Listen, the typical Antifa type is not a tough, threatening individual.
No.
They just have free reign to do whatever they want. You push back, they run with their tail between their legs. They're really a bunch of wimps.
Yep.
There's just a lot of them when they get together. These are not only people of horrible, I wouldn't say no character because they have bad character. They're just awful people, but they're also cowards.
We've seen there being some repercussions. We've seen some arrested in the past couple of months, and I think this is a big part of the push to get the National Guard into places like Portland, Chicago, that sort of thing, because one of their big targets, of course, is immigration enforcement. And so this is an effort to kind of push back on that, but it's just I don't know.
And here's what's so frustrating is that if a group of, say conservatives or a group of just people who have had enough band together militia style and defend their community from these Antifa types, we know who's going to get the repercussions. The good guys.
We could all stand to have some rooftop Koreans.
Yeah.
Just saying.
I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with it too.
Yeah. So, but they're doing this because they're being allowed to. And if they're being allowed to, are they essentially tacitly being encouraged to?
Yeah.
Well, and that's part of the issue as well. This is why it's so frustrating when you see politicians and other groups saying that they're not an organized group.
Yeah.
They don't exist. The ones I personally met growing up, they know people. They get their money together to have like bailout funds just in case one of their people gets arrested, gets caught. Then they can go and show up and bail them out. And that's consistent between all of these, a lot of these blue areas. So it's so almost like even if they get arrested, they're going to get bailed out relatively quickly unless it's something so heinous, and they know the law just enough to not get themselves have to be, so it's maddening.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen them. At one point I saw they were mad about Richmond Heights police 2-3 years ago. There was a situation where a police chase started and police shot a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they were protesting, and right there by the police station is Big Bend and Dale right there, which is actually real close to my house.
Right.
And they did the thing where they were shutting down the intersection there, which you don't have a right to do.
No.
But if I just drive through, then I get in trouble for running them over, which I shouldn't, but I would. Now I spotted it soon enough I could get around them. Turns out once the body cam footage came out, the guy charged at and pointed the gun at a police officer. It was a completely clean shoot,
really?
But they don't care.
No.
And there's no place in our society for people like this. But look at what happened in Berkeley is that they were having conversations and they still had a full auditorium. So in Berkeley, there were enough people who wanted to hear what Turek, and I forgot who the other speaker was,
I don't know,
had to say. But what was actually said is overshadowed by a bunch of cowardly wannabes trying to stop people from hearing what somebody else had to say and engaging in that conversation.
And the thing of it is, the vast majority of Americans aren't like inspired by that. They don't like that. They don't like seeing that. Even wherever they are on the political spectrum, if it's not on the far, far, far fringes, I don't know a single person that in my family, friends, whatever, that even though they vote differently than I do, that looks at that and thinks that's okay.
Right.
So it's a small contingent, but it's a loud and destructive contingent.
Well, and I mean, if you want to get on the sidewalk and wear your gator face things and do your signs and call people names,
that's great.
Go ahead and have at it.
Hold your signs up.
Hold your signs
up.
up.
Make your chance.
Yeah, do your thing. But for some reason, the farther left you go, the more that people, the violent types, feel like they have the right to take ownership of your ability to travel, your ability to engage in conversations, that they have a right.
Your city blocks.
Right. And so what's the solution if they're rarely held accountable for anything? Because otherwise they're just going to keep doing it.
I mean, the solution is holding them accountable.
Yeah.
That's the only solution.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing that there haven't been more situations where someone getting hurt or killed. People have been hurt and some people have been killed.
It's a matter of time.
Yeah. So, but the solution is holding them accountable, arresting them for breaking laws, prosecuting them, and making them pay the consequences of it.
History of the last 8-9 years tells us that's not going to happen.
Well,
it needs to, but in the meantime, something's going to give, and at some point they're going to be met with a bunch of guys in flannel shirts and ball bats.
Yeah,
and then it's going to really, really, really get ugly.
Yeah,
is what's going to happen. But they'll turn tail and run, because there have been some cases where people push back and they turn tail and run as fast as they can.
I don't know. It's infuriating.
Yeah. All right. 314-912-1019.
What's next? Now that the Schumer shutdown is officially over. Well, it's almost over. It's about to be over. So what comes next? We're going to find out next when we talk to the political expertise extraordinaire guy, Tim Jones.
from the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Chance Koch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking temperatures a little bit chillier this morning, back towards the mid-20s to start back off. Then we're seeing winds increasing out of the southwest. Going to be a gusty afternoon. That'll help actually warm us into the mid-50s. Wind gusts could be close to 26 miles per hour, but a warmer breeze. As we head throughout the rest of the week, we'll continue a warming trend into the weekend. Friday and Saturday, temperatures towards mid-70s and chances of showers beginning Sunday. In the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Koch.
Make this holiday season extra special with Anthony's Produce. Stock up on seasoned firewood for cozy nights by the fire. Order custom fruit and vegetable trays perfect for your Thanksgiving table. And don't forget about our hand-dipped chocolate-covered strawberries and beautiful fruit bouquets. Open 7 days a week, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. with pickup and delivery available. 701 Jungerman Road in St. Peters. Call 636-936-0496 or order online at anthonysproduce.com.
Larry Connor's Commentary, brought to you by Vincent's Jewelers, offering a wide selection of jewelry, including lab-grown diamonds, affordable earrings, bracelets, necklaces, and rings, up to 75% off their natural counterparts. Visit vincentsjewelers.com. This is Larry Connor's Commentary on News Talk STL.
Chucky Schumer played a game on the American public just for his political gain, his political protection. He was willing to hold Americans hostage. But as I predicted, what he gets in the end is exactly what we could have gotten 2-3 weeks ago. But he was wanting the American people to suffer, thinking that would still give him a win. He did not miss a paycheck, lose any government benefits. Now we have a deal, same he could have had, but we're a little closer to Thanksgiving. Could be a lot of chaos. You might be still stuck in an airport, on a plane, missing family. Chuck will be sitting down having a second helping of pumpkin pie. I'm reminded of the story of a 50-year-old man who had a heart transplant, was in need of one. Doctor said, "You're in luck. We have, due to sad tragedy, the heart of a 20-year-old killed in a crash. And we also have the heart of a 74-year-old U.S. senator. Now, we let you make the decision. We know what we think you want, but you get to make the decision." He said, "Who's the senator?" "That would be Chuck Schumer." The guy said, "I'll take his heart." "His? Why?" "His heart hasn't been used in years."
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor. Connor Roofing is now a 2-time winner of the National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction for roofing, storm damage restoration, siding, gutters, both residential and commercial. Please visit ConnorRoofing.com for an estimate. And remember, you can count on Connor.
I remember my son was going to grow up without a father.
I didn't think someone at 23 could be diagnosed with breast cancer.
I was probably the healthiest I had been in my life.
Early detection of a melanoma saved my life.
I survived testicular cancer because of early detection.
I survived cancer not once, but twice because of early detection.
Hi, I'm Congressman Bob Onder. Early detection equals better outcomes. Learn what routine cancer screenings you need and book your doctor's appointment today.
This message brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Here's a great way to save money on your prescription medications. If you take Viagra or Cialis, we can give you a way to pay as little as $2 a pill. Compare that to prices as high as $60 per tablet. These pills work for men and women to improve their sexual performance. And now for the price of 2 or 3 pills, you can get nearly 100. There's no need to pay expensive prices for Viagra or Cialis. Call now with your prescription and pay as little as $2 a pill. We offer 24/7 service and always free delivery and confidential packaging. Change your life for the better and have fun. Call Pharmacy Shop 24/7 to get generic versions of Viagra or Cialis for as little as $2 a pill, plus free discreet shipping.
800-631-2030. 800-631-2030. 800-631-2030. That's 800-631-2030.
May God bless our great veterans.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your service.
Honoring those that are serving our country.
It's a time to celebrate our freedom because of the veterans.
Honoring all who serve.
Which they so deserve.
News Talk STL.
Hey, Chris Arp from the Tim Jones and Chris Arp Show. Make sure that you're listening to our show this afternoon from 4 to 6. Now back to the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show.
Okay, it's easy to say the Republicans clearly won this round.
Yeah.
Okay, so will that benefit them in the 2026 elections? That's just part of the discussion.
Definitely just part of it.
Yeah, it remains to be seen.
It does remain to be seen.
Interesting statement I saw on the Will Cain show last night. So Senator John Kennedy, who we all know as the National Treasure.
National Treasure.
He wasn't being funny this time, but he clearly had some pointed words for a lot of his colleagues. Here's what he said.
Only disappointment in the deal that we have, I strongly wanted a provision added that senators cannot be paid during a shutdown. It's called shared sacrifice. It's called leadership. We were getting paid, but our staff wasn't. I didn't take my salary, but our staff wasn't getting paid, and air traffic controllers and our military. I thought it was the height of hypocrisy.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
No, I think that's one of the things that is most maddening about Congress is the fact that they don't live by the things that they inflict on the rest of us.
That's why when those who do, like for instance, Bob Onder announced on this show, he goes, well, I've withheld my own pay. Voluntary, he could have kept getting his paycheck and he chose not to during the shutdown. That was the right thing to do. We're now joined by Tim Jones. You can hear him every afternoon right here on News Talk STL. Okay, so Tim, let me go back to where we started here. And that is Republicans clearly won this round. I don't even know that the Democrats got anything other than the promise of a vote that they're going to lose anyway, possibly in December. I know there was a vote on the healthcare stuff, but I think that's going to probably come back. So Republicans won this round. Who gets to use this for more leverage in 2026?
Yeah, good morning, Mike, Susie, Jerome. Thanks for having me back again today. So, yeah, I mean, isn't it amazing that we're sitting here 24 hours after the shutdown has been announced that it's going to proceed to a slow and painful end? Kind of like how everything happens in DC, right? It's, we can't just end the shutdown. We have to go through a bunch more hoops. But that's the way we make the old legislative sausage. Isn't it amazing that we're sitting here saying that Republicans won? I mean, when was the last time we were able to say that? And that's because Republicans finally didn't just fold at the first sign of doing something politically expedient. I'm sure there's a bunch of political consultants and people out there saying, oh, just do this, just do that, just do the other thing. And even amidst the onslaught that they were receiving from most of the national corporate liberal media, Republicans said, no, these are red lines in the sand. We cannot fund health care for illegal aliens. And you bumbling bozos, you Democrats, you were the ones that voted back in March to not extend these Obamacare tax credits. So we're sorry that what's happening is what we told you would happen, and that's that premiums would continue to go up because Obamacare is a complete fraud. It's a complete farce. It is a complete hijacking of taxpayer money, which flows directly from the U.S. Treasury into the deep pockets of big healthcare insurance companies. And they stood firm. And because they stood firm on principle, on public policy matters, they won. Now, Mike, was that the politically expedient thing to do? No. And so what Republicans need to do next, so they don't get slaughtered once again, like they did in the 28 midterms on the healthcare issue, is they have to come up with a Republican healthcare plan of their own, because Democrats have lost the argument on law and order. They're now the outlaw party. They've lost the argument on open borders. They remain the party that wants to have this illegal alien invasion. The issue of abortion has largely gone back to the states. And if you notice, that's not really talked about much more on Capitol Hill. And so they're going to go back to their old tired playbook. And there's one page left, and that is the healthcare problem.
15 years later, and we're still trying to dig out from that. Tim, I have a kind of an unusual question for you, but it occurred to me last night because I sat and watched the entire proceedings last night on the Senate floor as we got ready for them to take the final vote. I think they went through about eight different iterations. There were motions to table. There were tree filling something or other. There were all kinds of little ins and outs of Senate procedure that is, as familiar as I am with the sausage making process, I didn't really readily understand. What's your go-to for people who want to understand more about the legislative process in terms of some of the, some of these sort of obscure procedural rules that are followed in legislative bodies?
Well, Susie, that would be some excellent bedtime reading, and that would be to pick up the Senate rules themselves and leaf through them. I mean, Robert's Rules of Order. You know, this is largely based on the Senate rules are largely based on Robert's Rules of Order, which is the ancient manual of how you conduct. Long story short, in simple layperson's terms, how you conduct a meeting. It's how you conduct a meeting. What happened last night, Susie, on the Senate floor was nothing more than a big fancy meeting paid for by us taxpayers of what was going on in the U.S. Senate. The Missouri Senate follows extremely similar rules. The rules in the Missouri House and Senate are largely patterned after the rules that the U.S. House and U.S. Senate follow, which are largely patterned after the original rules of running a railroad or a meeting, and that would be Robert's Rules of Order. So yeah, Susie, it's tedious, but it's meant to look. Our system is complex and cumbersome and complicated and tedious and messy, but it's honestly the best system of representative democracy that we have yet seen on planet Earth.
Yeah, and the nuance gets lost on a lot of people. People sometimes forget that politics is supposed to be hard to get stuff done. That's kind of the point. I don't want a government that can just on a whim declare something and then implement it without that sort of cooling saucer that the Senate is supposed to be. So there's actually a purpose for that, even when it's really, really frustrating. And of course, now you mentioned the messaging the Republicans have to do because the word of the day is affordability, and the Democrats have an emotional appeal. And I think they want to lose this vote. Because they can say those dastardly Republicans are taking away your health care,
right?
Instead of pointing out that Obamacare is what drove up the cost of everybody's health care.
Yeah, Mike, purely factually, and I think this is proven when you look at the headlines that have popped up over the last few days, even from the left-leaning national corporate media sources, they all pretty much say the same thing. Republicans won, Democrats lost. One of the headlines I saw this morning, Senator Chuck Schumer's record-setting government shutdown ends in humiliation. I mean, the adjectives cannot be strong enough. Factually, this was a massive, huge loss for the leadership, or the lack thereof, of Chuck Schumer and of Democrats writ large. And you know what? Factually speaking, thank God, right? Because where we were headed, let's say Republicans, in order to get this done, folded to all of the Democrats' demands. Those demands were insane, providing $1.5 trillion of new spending at the taxpayer expense to fund things like illegal alien health care, to expand the Obamacare the super subsidies, right? Not the original. Look, the original Obamacare structure is still unfortunately alive and well and kicking. What was the argument over during the shutdown was whether or not to expand the COVID era super subsidies that were available for pretty much anyone, anytime. It's the dream, the pipe dream of Bernie Sanders is coming true, moving all of America into single payer government funded healthcare. So Republicans said no. Now, politically, Mike, to your point, was that a good thing to do? Well, not unless they have an answer to that healthcare problem, to that equation. Republicans won in the sense that they did the right thing. Public policy wise, Americans are better off for this, whether they realize it or not, because at some point you have to stop the spending. You have to apply some fiscal sense. You have to get back to regular order. How about the fact that the Republicans are going to pass 3 appropriations bills through regular order? That's the first time that any appropriation bill has passed through regular order, I believe, in around 2 decades. But to Susie's point, and Mike, to your question, the next thing the Republicans need to do is come forward with a plan that truly provides a reform, not to our health care. We have the best health care in the world, but the structure of insurance and subsidies and phony baloney hocus pocus that occurs around paying people who are in that giant bloated bureaucracy. That needs to be fixed. That needs to be reformed. That needs to change. And Republicans need to come up with their own version of providing that social safety net of healthcare to those who truly need it, not just to anybody who just thinks they might want it, or they are going to get clobbered in the midterms.
Tim, I know there's no way for us to know for sure, but what do you think Chuck Schumer really expected to come of this? Was this did he expect the Republicans to cave, do you think, or did he just not care and just was going to inflict whatever damage he could, ahead of the elections last week and running into the midterms?
Susie has a great question, and I've thought about it a lot, and I honestly think he was just hoping something would happen on a wing and a prayer, because outsider looking in, but as someone who has been in and around legislative processes now, I hate to admit, for over 20 years, I picked up on a thing or two every once in a while. And one of the old adages that is stuck in my head from former Senator, now Congressman Bob Onder, who served in our Missouri State Senate and engaged and fought against plenty of filibusters on that Senate floor. Bob would always tell me, Tim, before you even think about engaging in a filibuster, you better know exactly, or you better know generally where you want to end up at the end. And I don't think Chuck Schumer followed that maxim. I don't think he had an end game. I think he was just hoping that something would happen.
Yeah.
That the media would save him, or public sentiment would turn so viciously against Republicans, which it never really did. Despite the best efforts of some of his media allies, it never got so lopsided that Republicans felt they had to give in. And thank goodness they held the line. There will be no health care for illegal aliens. And, I know people have difference of opinions over this. Chris and I actually disagreed about this yesterday. I don't think they're going to extend in the purest sense of the word. I don't think they're going to extend the COVID era Obamacare super subsidies, because the one thing we've learned through this shutdown is how bad and how much of a failure Obamacare is. Now, they might come up with some new, I'm not saying they're going to do nothing. They'll come up with some form of new healthcare option, but Republicans have been telling the American people that they were going to pull back, dismantle Obamacare now for over 15 years, and they've failed to do it. And what's happened is it's gotten to be a Frankenstein monster, almost completely and utterly out of control. And that's exactly what Bernie Sanders wants. Bernie Sanders wants private health insurance to become so burdensome and expensive that we all say, oh, government, come in and please help us. And then we are all moved over to some communist Soviet era single payer broken healthcare plan.
All right, Tim Jones here every afternoon with Chris Harps. And I'm sure that we'll have a better timeline for when the House is going to take care of things. So I suspect this will be front and center this afternoon with all the updates.
Yeah, Mike, the plan from Speaker Johnson, who has been a masterful communicator through all of this, with his tenacity and his fortitude and his just common sense attitude, he intends to get this done this week. He doesn't want any grass to grow under their feet at this point in time. The legislators are back in Washington, D.C., and they want to tie this up in a big giant bow and have it done well before the Thanksgiving holidays kick in so we can get back to regular order.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, gang.
Speaking of getting back to regular order, we have an amazing food drive that we are running right now. And because it's going to take a little bit of time after the government reopens to get things like the kinks out, there's going to be a little bit of a ripple effect. It might still hurt some folks, but you can do your part by going to our website, NewsTalkSTL.com, checking out all the amazing locations where you can drop off food and help keep people's lives back in order.
License number E2014A.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Lights flickering?
Chrysler can fix it.
Breaker keeps tripping?
That's a Chrysler job.
Outlet not working?
Chrysler makes it right.
Old wiring need a rewire?
Chrysler rewires with care.
From little fixes to major fixes, we treat your home like our own.
Treat? Did you say treat? Woof.
Green is always Grasser at GrasserHomeservices.com.
Is diabetes keeping you from enjoying life's special moments? At US Med, we understand the challenges you face, and we're here to help.
With US Med, I can finally manage my diabetes without it managing me.
US Med offers a wide range of services to simplify your diabetes care. Personalized care plans, convenient access to cutting-edge diabetes tech, and knowledgeable support. Plus, we'll check your insurance so your diabetes care may be covered at little or no cost to you.
With US Med, I feel confident and control of my diabetes. I can finally live my life to the fullest.
Don't let diabetes hold you back. Choose US Med and experience better birthdays, better adventures, better anniversaries, and better everything. Call now. US Med. Better service, better care. 800-515-2380. 800-515-2380. 800-515-2380. That's 800-515-2380.
The Mike Ferguson Show is one of my favorite programs. In addition to Larry Connor's USA, catch my program at 6. Now, back to Mike.
Okay, the great debate rages on.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. I'm not talking about the healthcare.
I was going to say, what do I got to filibuster now?
Okay, so what are the best and the worst Thanksgiving side dishes?
Oh. I have thoughts.
They do a survey.
Mm-hmm.
Every year there's a survey. And what we think is the best and the worst out there. And let's see here. Campbell's commissioned the survey on the best and the worst side dishes.
Okay.
Do you have favorites, like your personal favorites, or what?
Green bean casserole, but I make a different kind of green bean casserole. It's called Swiss green bean casserole. So
what's the difference?
It's got like sour cream and cheese in it. It's not the mushroom soup.
See, I like the mushroom soup.
I like
with
that.
With the crunchy things on top.
Yes,
Yeah.
mine still has crunchy things on top. It's just a different kind of configuration.
Oh,
I like
interesting.
both, but that's my preference.
I don't know how common this is, but it's my mom makes these like breaded noodle things, and then
Oh,
you put
yeah.
a little bit of gravy on them. They're a little thick, like it's hard to explain, but they're phenomenal. Now, least favorite, it's a family tradition to do like oysters with your stuffing, and I like oysters and I like stuffing, but for some reason I feel like either they're all playing a prank on me and everybody's pretending to like it, or something's wrong with my taste buds. I'm not sure.
Okay, so the top 5
Okay, these are the favorites or least favorites.
favorites.
Okay.
Let me go kind of backwards. I think this is Okay. Let's see here. Second year in a row, mashed potatoes is not number 1. Stuffing is number 1. No, thumbs down.
I'm not a stuffing person.
Oh, I love them both.
I like stuffing on Thanksgiving Day, but it dries out after that. So if you're gonna eat your stuffing, eat it on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah, then you can use it for a sponge.
There you go. Mashed potatoes is number 2. Yes.
Yes.
Love me some mashed potatoes.
Yes. Sweet potatoes, number 3.
I'm not a sweet
Oh, see,
potato
I'm a thumbs up on that.
No, I know. I'm weird.
Same.
Yeah,
I don't
really?
like sweet potatoes.
I love. Well, no, I'm on your side.
Oh, you're on my
I
side.
love
Okay,
sweet
yeah.
potatoes.
Yeah, okay, you can stay.
I'm weird.
That's
I'm weird. I'll own it.
I have never thought of this as a Thanksgiving thing, but mac and cheese is number 4.
I was going to say that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
I mean, I like mac and cheese. I just never thought of it as really a Thanksgiving thing.
See, we don't do mac and cheese, but we do. I think au gratin potatoes. It's
Yeah.
basically mac and cheese with potatoes.
Instead of noodles. Yeah.
I'm
That's
not a
similar.
fan of. I'm not a fan of that though, but I do like mac and cheese.
Okay, so the thing you were describing a second ago, is that egg noodles, homemade egg noodles?
I think that might be what it is.
Okay, so SeaWorld Girl says, my uncle makes homemade egg noodles, those and chopped corn casserole, or hash brown casserole. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I did not know. Everybody where I'm from, when I talk to them about, I'm like, does your family do these noodles? And like, it's Thanksgiving. What are you doing noodles for? So I feel better now knowing
No,
that
you're
I'm
not
alone.
alone. You're not alone. Anything starchy and cheesy or
Yeah.
gravy, I think that's or crunchy.
And green bean casserole is number 5.
Okay.
I do like green bean casserole.
Oh yeah, I like that too. So apparently this is the 70th anniversary of green bean casserole. So you can't say green bean casserole just like the Pilgrims made. They didn't make those.
Oh, well, all I know is that I'm tasked with making it every time we have a family gathering because my daughter and my niece love it.
Oh, okay. But yeah, of course, let's see here. 63% of Americans like Thanksgiving sides more than the actual entree, more than the actual turkey or the ham.
My family has a group chat going right now, and there's a big debate about turkey. I like turkey.
I like turkey.
But I'm not hosting, so I'm like, you fix whatever you want to fix.
Right.
Like, I'm perfectly fine. I will show up even if I don't end up getting something I like to eat. I can eat something later. I just want to be there with family.
Yeah.
but I like turkey.
I do too. I mean, especially on the Thanksgiving where you're,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, that's
Interesting.
had something happen here. Okay, but
Ghost of Turkey Past.
Ghost of Turkey Past
had a little something to say about that.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So almost half of Americans say they'll be fine to fill their plate with just side dishes.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I mean, I personally like turkey, but I'm not a big ham eater. So and I think it's because I wait until Thanksgiving to have the ham, and then I overdo it on the ham, and then I say, why did I eat so much ham? And then
See,
if you look at all those sides that went uneaten, and like I could have had you instead.
Yeah.
If you overdo it on the turkey, then you can get the tryptophan, and then you can just take a nice long nap.
That's true.
But could it be also though that the sides go bad quicker than the main sort of
Oh,
meats?
yeah,
So
totally.
maybe it's worth it strategically to fill up on the sides and then bring the meats home with you.
I think the important thing is just to make sure you eat well.
Oh yeah,
I plan to. I'm hungry now. My stomach
Just
is
thinking
growling.
about it.
We got a few weeks to wait for that.
Yeah, and honestly, now is your family the one that where everybody like homemade cooks it all, or you just order the whole thing saying we're going to have X number of people, just order a meal for that and just go pick it up?
I'd say hybrid. I mean, there's some stuff like the turkey may be pre-ordered or maybe one of the casserole dishes, but mostly everyone makes their own and brings it to contribute.
So in years past, what we've done is just say, okay, here's the number of people who are going to be showing up. And we'd rather spend the time with friends and family. And so we'll just order it and just pay for it. And then somebody goes out and picks it up and then brings it in. It's
That
already
works
made.
too.
Yeah.
I don't have any beef with that. I do want to, we are missing something really important though.
What's that?
What about the desserts?
Oh yeah.
Hello, pumpkin pie, pecan
Yep,
pie.
yep,
I'm
yep.
I'm all over both those.
Yeah. I'm a pumpkin pie guy.
I am too.
Now I've noticed the last couple of years, more people doing like fruit type pies, like, apple pies and things like that. I would go straight for the pumpkin pie myself.
I'm not a fruit pie person. Again, with I have weird eating things, but I love pumpkin pie.
Yeah.
Some whipped cream on top.
Okay, so you say some whipped cream. My daughter will basically argue it's not ready unless you cannot see the pumpkin pie under the
Very.
mountain of the whipped cream. That's Amber's approach to it.
She's young. She can afford to look at it that way.
And she's a gym rat. She can do that.
She can do that.
So SeaWorld says sweet potato pie. Is that a thing?
It is a
Oh, it
thing.
is. Yeah, it's a thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
'Cause I like pumpkin pie. I like sweet potatoes. That sounds like the perfect.
It's actually pretty good.
It
I'm
is
gonna
a
have
thing.
to look into that. Thank you, SeaWorld.
But I don't know about eggnog pie. That's
Ooh, that sounds.
I'm not a big eggnog
nor am I.
guy.
Nor am I.
Yeah.
I'm skeptical.
Yeah.
I could be persuaded. But
I mean, I used to love even the non-alcoholic eggnog that you give when you're younger, you're like, oh, this is great because it's sweet. And after a while, it's like, yeah, this is really thick and this is really sweet. And I don't really do eggnog too much anymore.
See, and I love eggnog. I'm just trying to get my head around how do you put it in the form of a pie? I mean, maybe like
Yeah,
an
that's-
eggnog soup or something, but
I don't know unless you
Oh.
can congeal it in some way. I mean, like chocolate cream pie is like chocolate pudding, basically. So if there's a way to puddingize it, I don't know.
Allison prefers the eggnog and spiced rum combo. That's a classic.
Ooh, that sounds
I
good,
could
actually.
that could work. That could work. Okay, we haven't addressed the elephant in the room on side dishes. Cranberry sauce.
Oh, yeah, I'm not a fan.
Oh, see, I am. That's my turkey. That's like my turkey dinner dessert before the.
Get it?
That's the warm up dessert before the pie.
I'm weird.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Money Radio every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build,
preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Are the days of a personal doctor gone? Not at Body of Health Direct Primary Care. I'm Dr. Randy Tobler to share how our design is putting the care back into healthcare. Plain and simple, our members, not insurance companies, get our exclusive focus. That means same or next day appointments, responsive answers to your concerns, and a no-spin, big tool chest approach. It's about time you get serious time devoted to your medical needs. To learn about healthcare the way it ought to be, schedule a discovery call today at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason.
On this vote, the ayes are 60, the nays are 40. The bill as amended is passed.
The Senate voting last night to end the longest-running government shutdown in history, sending an end the shutdown bill to the House.
The shutdown could last a few more days as members of the House, which has been in recess since mid-September, return to Washington to vote on the legislation. President Donald Trump has signaled support for the bill, saying Monday that, quote, we're going to be opening our country very quickly. In a possible preview, the Senate voted 47-53 along party lines not to extend Affordable Health Care Act subsidies for a year. Majority Republicans allowed the vote as part of a separate deal with Democrats to speed up votes and send legislation to the House. Bernie Bennett, Washington.
The shutdown is snarling air travel, thousands of flight delays and cancellations as overworked, exhausted, and unpaid air traffic controllers call out sick.
This is not politics. This is not ideology. This is the erosion of the safety margin the flying public never sees, but America relies on every single day.
National Air Traffic Controllers Association President Nick Daniels. In a social media post, President Trump notes the controllers will get paid. He's urging them to get back to work now. There have been more than 1,900 flight delays or cancellations so far today. The families of some of the 25 girls and 2 teen counselors who died in catastrophic flooding in Texas on July 4th are suing Camp Mystic and its owners for more than $1 million in damages. They allege camp operators failed to take necessary steps to protect their daughters as life-threatening floodwaters approached. A lawyer for the camp says they empathize with the families but take issue with the accusations. On Wall Street, ahead of this morning's opening bell, the Dow futures 23 points higher. NASDAQ futures are down 118. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Americans everywhere are on edge. The government shutdown has dragged on, and every day that passes, the markets grow more uncertain. When anxiety grips Wall Street, the first thing that takes the hit is your retirement savings, your IRA, your 401k. Everything you've worked for can suffer a loss of value virtually overnight. And now, with the Fed preparing another rate cut, precious metals are poised for dramatic gains in the coming weeks. That's why so many Americans are calling Advantage Gold at 800-741-GOLD to learn how to roll over a portion of their retirement funds into physical gold and silver. When paper assets crumble under government dysfunction and global tension, precious metals stand firm. Don't wait for the next market shock to erase what you've saved. Call Advantage Gold at 800-741-GOLD. Get your free gold kit now. It'll show you exactly how to secure your IRA or 401k with tangible assets. Call 800-741-4653 now. Consult your financial advisor before investing. Call 800-741.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Chance Koch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking temperatures a little bit chillier this morning, back towards the mid-20s to start back off. Then we're seeing winds increasing out of the southwest. Going to be a gusty afternoon. That'll help actually warm us into the mid-50s. Wind gusts could be close to 26 miles per hour, but a warmer breeze. As we head throughout the rest of the week, we'll continue a warming trend into the weekend. Friday and Saturday, temperatures towards mid-70s and chances of showers beginning Sunday. In the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Koch.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros and Exteriors, your all-in-one service team that brings years of experience and quality that's affordable right to your doorstep. Christine and I discovered Gutter Pros and Exteriors when we bought our home and inherited a gutter problem. And they've also repaired siding damage on our home because along with gutter repair, gutter installation, and leaf protection, the Gutter Pros team are also the best for repairing other exterior damage, including fascia, soffit, and all siding repair and installation. Learn about all the ways Gutter Pros and Exteriors can help your home or business right now at gutterpros.com.
Looking for an underwater adventure or a scaly new friend? Dive into Tropical World Pets on Watson Road. For 32 years, this family-owned wonderland has been St. Louis's go-to destination for all things aquatic and reptilian. With over 7,000 square feet of aquariums, we're home to the area's largest selection of freshwater fish, including rare cichlids you won't find anywhere else. But that's not all. We've got tarantulas, snakes, and lizards galore. Tropical World Pets, 314-849-4020, or visit twpstl.com.
Mike Ferguson.
Shut this sucker down.
Susie Moore.
I disagree on his assessment of the situation.
Get up! Get up! Can't you hear the alarm? Get up, St. Louis.
You're not supposed to lie, but you're definitely not supposed to lie when you're under oath.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! Get up! This is your cousin.
All right. Could another refugee crisis be in the works? This is one of those things that it's over there, but could it start to affect other parts of the world, maybe even over here? Because there's a lot of people who rush to refugee crisis, start shipping them in here.
Mm-hmm.
But this is really bad.
This is really bad.
Really bad. It is 8:05 right now. We are now joined by Bill Cruz, otherwise known as Streiff on RedState.com. Bill, good chat with you again, man. Interesting. I haven't seen this story anywhere else. I mean, like anywhere else. The title of the article is "The End is Near. Tehran faces evacuation as water supplies reach zero and the city sinks into the desert." Once again, redstate.com, you can find this. So let me start with the premise, because somebody's going to say, well, Mike, why are we talking about, a drought in the Middle East? I mean, it's the Middle East. There's sand everywhere. But we'll get to that in just a second. But how bad is that? Then we can get into what this means.
Okay, so according to the president of Iran, it's pretty bad. He's talking about starting the evacuation of a city of 10 million people probably in the next month. Okay? So just imagine that if, like, New York City, the mayor woke up, well, this could actually happen under the current administration. The mayor woke up one morning and decided, I don't want any people here, let's move them all out. And that's what we're basically looking at. Unless there's biblical levels of rain in the next month, Tehran is probably going to start evacuation by the first of the year.
Wow.
Bill, before I read your article, I had heard nothing of this and it hadn't occurred to me. But then reading it, it was just crazy to me to realize, first of all, they're already dealing with tremendous subsidence. Did you say it's like 25 centimeters a year?
Right. Tehran is sinking at the rate of 10 inches a year.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's crazy. And I think, and of course, the second order problem to that is, if your problem is lack of water, can you imagine what subsidence of 10 inches a year is doing to your water mains?
Yeah. Just going to make them worse.
If they
they're going to be broken. The joints are going to be not sealed. It's really hard to see how Tehran comes back from this, even if you get a good rain, which doesn't look likely.
So if an evacuation starts, where do they go? I mean, where is it that the Iranian government plans to put people?
I'm guessing Michigan.
Okay, but that brings up an interesting question, because that's why should we take note of this out there? Because once somebody starts throwing out terms like refugee, and a drought is an absolute refugee type of situation, Iran is still a terrorist sponsoring nation. But at some point, do we have to worry about somebody in the U.S. saying those are refugees, not immigrants? These are refugees. There's a difference, and start bringing them to the U.S.
So we have to remember how the Somalis ended up here. We have to remember how the Sudanese ended up here. In both cases, you have a natural calamity supported by an ongoing civil war. I cannot imagine a situation where this happens and there will not be an outcry in some places on Capitol Hill that we have to bring these people in because we have to bring them in. And besides that, they're really talented too.
So the next question, Bill, is going to be, okay, which federal judge is going to order the Trump administration to open up the refugee program?
I'll bet behind the scenes they're already putting in bids for this.
They probably are. But actually, I was just trying to think about, like, when you think geographically of where Iran is located, obviously the areas, the countries around it are going to be the most directly impacted if there's a huge refugee influx. But and Tehran is not the whole of Iran, but even within the country, there's this issue.
Well, there's this thing I've seen recently mentioned on social media called suicidal empathy. And apparently the nations in the Middle East are not really stricken with it like Europe is. But so you look back at Syria. The logical overflow for Syrians during the Syrian civil war was Turkey. And Turkey basically said, to heck with that. We will have transit camps that we are funneling these people into Germany. And that's where they are. And I would suspect you would see the same sort of thing going on that you will see an Iranian refugee flow to Western Europe. That's what my real guess is. But I think there's no doubt that people will be pushing for several million Iranians to be moved here because we're good people.
Can we take the ones that aren't fans of
the
mullahs?
if there are any?
Yeah, exactly.
Can we select?
Yeah. That would be nice for a change.
Yeah, it would. We're visiting.
But, I mean, really. I mean, all joking aside. I mean, do we really think that there's not going to be a hue and cry to accept Iranian refugees if there is a natural calamity? It's not related to war, not related to religion. It's just like, oh, bad luck, in the Robert Heinlein sense, I guess. But part of this is not only the drought, is they have absolutely thrashed their aquifers. I am not a geologist, so I don't know if those things ever come back or not. But I would suspect when you have skyscrapers sinking into the aquifer, the odds of the aquifer coming back are slim. And it's because the government had a policy of trying to surge agriculture to support a growing population, so they wouldn't have to import food. And to do that is when you do irrigation in a desert, a lot of the water evaporates. I mean, that's just sort of the fact. I mean, and this is not a necessarily Iranian thing. If you've been out around Phoenix, Central California, up in Lodi, where they actually had rice paddies at one time, I'm not sure if those still exist anymore, is, people do all kinds of dumb things when they think there's unlimited water, and there's just not. But this is the end point of probably 30 years of some really, really bad decisions being made.
We're visiting with Bill Cruz, aka Streiff, on RedState.com. Okay, so then what would we be wise? We being like the leadership of the country, what would be a wise, I guess, course of action to consider taking? Because you're right. I think that it's just a matter of time before you start hearing bleeding hearts say, well, just bring them here. They're refugees, bring them here. When that makes no sense. And the term that I've seen the same thing you've seen as far as the suicidal empathy concept. And I think there's a lot to that. But what should we do, if anything, regarding the problems happening to I don't know what the official status is with Iran to the U.S., but this is not a friendly country or culture.
Yeah, and that's a good question. I really don't know what the correct answer here would be. I think the one part of the correct answer is yes, it's unfortunate, but because it's unfortunate doesn't mean it's an us problem. It's a them problem. And I don't really know what you do in this case. I mean, I've never heard of water being imported in those types of quantities to anybody before. I'm not even sure it can be done. Does it mean Iran ceases to exist as a country? I mean, I really have no idea what comes next. And I sort of tried to make that clear in my the way I closed my story. Like, I don't really have an answer for this. This is something that is new in modern times. It's not seen like nothing like this as we've seen since like the collapse of the Mayan Empire in Mesoamerica. Like you're looking at an entire country basically going away.
You know, Bill, you referenced earlier the idea of like, unless they had biblical type rains, which obviously that would be its own problem because with having had as much drought as they've had, if they suddenly get rained on, it's going to cause all kinds of issues. But, you mentioned that also 30 years of poor planning. This didn't happen overnight. And it does make you wonder, like, who's running things in Iran that didn't start addressing this issue 10, 15 years ago?
So I think there's lots of problems there. A lot of them are bureaucratic. So you look. I think a good analog for this is you look at the Soviet experience around the Aral Sea, where at some point during Stalin's regime, they decided that we're going to grow cotton in the middle of a desert, and so they have basically pumped a huge, a massive inland freshwater sea. They pumped it down to nothing, and it's probably never coming back. And guess what? The cotton fields are also dead. So I think you end up with ideas like this that provide quick results bureaucratically and politically for an individual. And then it's like generations later, your successor catches the downside of your poor decision making, but everything looks fine on the surface, and no one's really going to want to challenge the underlying assumptions, especially in a place where challenging assumptions may be fatal. So.
Yep. All right. The article is "The End is Near. Tehran faces evacuation as water supplies reach zero and the city sinks into the desert." RedState.com. Streiff, Bill Cruz, man, good chat with you. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, Bill, and thanks for your service. It's Veterans Day.
Oh, Veterans Day. That's right. Yeah. All right. Boeing makes a change to its offer to striking union members, even though they've already hired many replacement workers. That's actually happening here. I've got the update in the news dump at 8:20.
Don't try to make me stop. No inspiration. You have a soul sewn up. It is no more. And all at once depart. No destination.
Well, there you go again, listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop right now before you blow us all away. Get up!
Columbo here for my friends at Bluff City Outdoors in Alton. The knowledgeable staff at Bluff City has served the St. Louis outdoor community for decades, and they can take care of all your bow hunting needs, all your trapping needs, all your fishing needs, and more. Plus, while you're there, you can schedule a trip with a local fishing guide and shoot in their archery range. Bluff City Outdoors is open 7 days a week, 1 mile east of Fast Eddie's at 2813 East Broadway in Alton. Follow them on Facebook and at bluffcityoutdoors.com.
Looking for treasures from the past? Discover Mimi's Antiques Attic, your locally owned and family-operated treasure hunt destination. Explore 16,000 square feet of antiques, crafts, collectibles, and designer items across 225 unique rental spaces. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 7, and Sundays, 10 to 6 at 1000 Warrenton Shops in Warrenton. Mimi's Antiques Attic, where every visit uncovers new treasures.
Hungry for the best steak you'll ever have? Head to the heart of Moscow Mills and discover Harry J's, a local landmark and family-owned steakhouse, serving up excellence since '98. From mouth-watering appetizers to decadent desserts, Harry J's has something for everyone. Enjoy our extensive bar selection while soaking in our friendly family atmosphere. Whether dine-in or carry-out, your meal is prepared to perfection. Make the drive to 300 Main Street and treat yourself to a taste of Moscow Mills' finest. Harry J's, more than a steakhouse. We're a tradition.
Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. It's only called STL Windows and Doors. Their Provia windows combine old world craftsmanship the professional way, the Provia way, with over 65 years of combined experience, locally owned, offering competitive pricing and personalized service that the big box companies can't match. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com.
This is so stupid.
St. Louis's.
Okay, I'm hanging up on you now.
Place to talk. News Talk STL.
Hey guys, Billy Crow here from Jeffco Patriot Radio. Hope you had enough time to freshen up your coffee because now we're back with Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right. The federal government will soon be back to the normal type of dysfunction, not the recent extended dysfunction.
Saying the government's going back to normal just kind of feels like an oxymoron.
I know, exactly. It's like, is that good news? Is that bad news? The short answer is yes. Yes, exactly. And our food drive off to a very, very strong start here. All right. It is 8:19. Let's dump some news on you here.
Wake up, America. It all worked out. They got all the news. The morning news dump.
Okay, the Senate votes to end the longest running government shutdown in U.S. history. Here's the update from Bernie Bennett.
On this vote, the ayes are 60, the nays are 40. The bill as amended is passed.
The shutdown could last a few more days as members of the House, which has been in recess since mid-September, return to Washington to vote on the legislation. President Donald Trump has signaled support for the bill, saying Monday that, quote, we're going to be opening our country very quickly. The Senate voted 47-53 along party lines not to extend Affordable Health Care Act subsidies for a year. Majority Republicans allowed the vote as part of a separate deal with Democrats to speed up votes and send the legislation to the House. Bernie Bennett, Washington.
And the House is expected to kind of rubber stamp it. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but they are expected to approve it. It could very well be next 36, 48 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, and just to make sure I'm hearing that properly, it's not that the Republicans said, okay, we're going to go ahead and give you what you wanted with that 1.5 trillion. It's just that we're going to go ahead and take this to the vote to allow you to have a chance to vote on it.
Yeah. That way, as far as the subsidies, you mean, expand that 1.5 trillion ish of extra spending to keep those subsidies going. The Republicans basically said, okay, we'll let you lose that vote. Basically is where we're at. Okay. Boeing increases the ratification bonus for striking employees in the latest offer. The company is now offering a $6,000 ratification bonus per employee, saying that is based on feedback from the union members who have been on strike since August 4th. The increased bonus takes the place of a stock offering that was in that previous offer. The company has already hired some permanent replacement workers, but it's offering a guarantee that all striking International Association of Machinist Workers will get their jobs back if they ratify and go back to work basically in 1 week from yesterday.
I mean, I guess that works, but at the same time, wouldn't you want, with a company like Boeing, wouldn't you want to have the stock options? I mean, because then the harder you work, the more you produce, the more that goes up, the more you're in the long term you're going to be making. And it does not seem like, according to what they were making before, that they're exactly in need of money.
Yeah, that seemed like a better long-term option for me, but that's the feedback they got. It doesn't look like they changed any other aspects of the article. They're still offering those fairly significant raises. In the first year, it's like 8% raise in the first year plus cost of living adjustment as well. And then over the 4 to 5 years, whatever the contract ends up being, 4 or 5 years, we're looking at like 40% guaranteed raises in addition to other bonuses. So no word yet from the union as to what they're going to do with it. About 3,200 union members are on strike, and that's both sides of the river.
Yeah, I mean, at a certain point, with that many people on strike, though, you kind of have to figure out some solution. Otherwise, it's just not going to be manageable long term.
Now, the leverage, what's interesting is that the company has said, we've got some lines of production, not all of them, but some lines are back up to full capacity with what they're referring to as permanent replacement workers.
Oh,
so they weren't kidding when they did the job fair, and the training period is basically over. And so they're continuing to hire. So the longer the union wants to keep this going, at some point, not all of them are going to get their jobs back.
They might have an entirely different union when they,
or maybe they're not union. I don't know. I mean, because now if and when the union eventually does go back to work, these replacement workers, that's going to be considered a scab.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you may see some tires slashed and stuff. I wouldn't put that above the old school thought that a lot of these, but Boeing makes military jets for our national defense and also makes military jets that we sell to allies as well. So Boeing can't sit there and just say, we'll wait it out. They have to get their production up and running. And that's what they're doing. That's what's so, I think, wrong with some of the U.S. senators who basically are targeting the CEO of Boeing. Not that I think the CEOs are, always the good guys here, but they're like, you need to end this. And they're saying, we've offered an above market package, but we're basically what the senators should be worried about is what's it going to take to get your production back to where it should be? What's your plan to do that, as opposed to just give the union what they want? Because the union's been offered, like I said, an above market deal on this. And so, we'll see whether they take it. If they don't take it, then they'll be on strike through probably Thanksgiving at least. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, we're getting increased threats against Border Patrol agents as they carry out immigration enforcement, particularly in Chicago. Now we've got shots fired at federal agents over the weekend. Customs and Border Patrol Chief Patrol Agent Greg Bovino was on America Reports on Fox, saying that there has been an arrest made.
This is indeed an illegal alien that had a prior felony conviction for firearms.
Yeah, and yet he was still in the country.
Now, at what point, when you to any anti-ICE, no kings people out there, at what point do you not look at the types of people that are engaging in these acts of violence and the criminal histories of a lot of them, and not realizing, oh, me protecting these people being in the country is not me being the good guy? I mean, how does this previous felony offense then goes on to shoot it at an ICE agent?
Which is exactly the reason we demanded this hardcore immigration enforcement of illegal aliens. This guy in particular is exactly why. I mean, exactly why.
And then at the same time, whenever the ICE agents say, well, then we have to increase how much intimidation and how much force we use because people are shooting at us and being crazy, then you want to cry like you're the victim. That does not make any sense.
None whatsoever. Okay, on America Reports on Fox, Interior Secretary Doug Burgum was asked about the president's energy policies, which have worked in bringing the price of gas and oil down.
This meant for us to be able to have so much energy, sell it to our friends and allies so they can stop buying from adversaries like Russia and Iran, have so much energy that we can have prosperity at home. So all of his initiatives around the Middle East, around the world, is really about energy diplomacy. Again, prosperity at home, peace abroad.
So the AAA price of gas national average right now is about $3.07, which is a little bit less than it was this time last year. But I think it's clear that the president's approach to energy is absolutely working as promised.
Oh yeah, and it's even lower than that around here, fortunately.
Oh yeah, so. Like I said, I bought for $2.59, I think it was the other day. Yeah. All right, President Trump is threatening to sue the BBC over the way the network edited footage of one of his speeches for broadcast.
A letter to Britain's public broadcaster, the president's lawyers said the BBC must retract its documentary by November 14th or face a lawsuit for no less than $1 billion. The network came under fire for cutting out a section of Donald Trump's speech on January 6, 2021, when he said he wanted supporters to demonstrate peacefully at the U.S. Capitol. Over the weekend, the head of the BBC and the news CEO both resigned, calling the edit an error of judgment. Greg Clugston, Washington.
It wasn't an error in judgment. You got exposed for the bias and dishonesty that you're bringing to your product.
Yeah, trying to weasel out of it like that is just, I mean, I'm glad they resigned,
Right.
but I mean, that's an entirely, oh my, I'm going to go too long on this rant, but let's just say it, to call it an error of judgment is just softballing it.
Right, it is. Okay, Federal Housing Finance Agency Director Bill Pulte posted on social media on Monday that the president is proposing a plan for the government to back 50-year mortgages for homebuyers. When asked what he thinks of the plan, the president dismisses any negative concerns. This is from Fox's The Ingram Angle.
It's not even a big deal. I mean, you go from 40 to 50 years, and what it means is you pay something less from 30. That some people had a 40, and then now they have a 50. All it means is you pay less per month. You pay it over a longer period of time.
I don't think anybody's got a 40-year mortgage. That's not a thing. But a lot of people do have 30-year mortgages. Honestly, the only people who come out ahead on a 50-year mortgage are the banks. That's it. I mean, it's the banks will love this. Listen, if there's a private market lending and they say, 50-year mortgages make a lot of sense, then let them do it. Don't back that with the government. Don't incentivize that with the government, because the bankers are the only ones who are going to come out ahead on that.
Yeah, a big part of our issue with our debt economy right now is the fact that people don't seem to have a understanding of the way that interest works, and with
compound interest,
especially compound interest. Now, you and Susie had an amazing conversation about this, I believe, back in the 6 o'clock hour. So if you want a little bit more detail on that, you can go back and listen on the podcast, because that's actually uploaded right now.
Okay, on this Veterans Day, you're going to see tributes to many of those who served, and they're going to be on billboards throughout the metro area here. KMOV's Morgan Harris explains.
This is part of the Heroes Across America campaign. They'll be displaying images of veterans on 19 digital billboards around St. Louis, from St. Charles County to the Metro East. You'll see them on many of the major interstates through Friday.
Okay, so vets, I'm going to have a couple of extra places where you can go and get a thank you gift, and I hope you take advantage of these here. Lamar Advertising is coordinating those displays. Okay, Blues are back at home tonight. They host the Flames at Enterprise. Puck drops at 7 o'clock. Blues are 5-8-3. Calgary is 4-11-2. So this is going to be a great game of evenly matched teams, or this is going to be a comedy of errors of teams that are near the bottom of the pack.
Hey, if you're not ahead and scored, just start throwing punches. We'll take either.
Yep.
Mike Ferguson in the morning
Let me just say this with all due respect. You really don't know what you're talking about right now.
on News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Chance Koch with your first alert forecast. We're going to be tracking temperatures a little bit chillier this morning, back towards the mid-20s to start back off. Then we're seeing winds increasing out of the southwest. Going to be a gusty afternoon. That'll help actually warm us into the mid-50s. Wind gusts could be close to 26 miles per hour, but a warmer breeze. As we head throughout the rest of the week, we'll continue a warming trend into the weekend. Friday and Saturday, temperatures towards mid-70s and chances of showers beginning Sunday. In the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Chance Koch.
Fox News commentary with Brian Kilmeade. Next.
I'm alpine skier Michaela Schifrin. I've won the most World Cup ski races in history. But what does success mean to me? Success means discipline. It's teamwork. It's the drive and passion inside of us. And it's why Streiff is one of the fastest growing global wealth management firms in the country. If you're looking for success, surround yourself with the people who will get you there. If you're an advisor or investor, choose Streiff, where success meets success.
Streiff Nicholas and Company Incorporated. Member SIPC and NYSE.
Past performance is no indication of future results. Investing involves risk. Consult a financial advisor before making any investment decisions.
Here's Brian Kilmeade.
Amazon shocking many with massive layoffs. So is the company suffering? It's actually the opposite. They're one of the world's top 5 companies, and they're thriving. While all the layoffs are not AI, that's true, a lot are. And it's hard to ignore the inevitability of robots. Corporate giants like IBM, UPS, Target also announcing layoffs in recent weeks, totaling about 62,000 cuts. I know this seems really jarring, but the innovation is also massively advancing efficiency. Hold on tight, because while the AI surge might be getting rid of some white-collar jobs, it's going to create a whole lot and a wave of blue-collar ones. Data centers, which we need in order to grow our AI footprint to beat China, they need people. They need people to build them and people to run them. Trade jobs are hotter than ever, and the next generation seems way more optimistic than you'd expect.
For more commentary like this, go to foxnewspodcast.com.
Hey, it's Vic Porcelli here with our great friend Chris Cooper from Serenity Wealth Management. Hi, Chris. How are you, Vic? I don't want to put anybody else down, but when you go up and visit you at Serenity Wealth, your place looks like home.
So a lot of financial advisory offices, they have, the big mahogany desk or the big marble entryways and things like that, the stock market channel on the TV when you walk in the door, right? That doesn't really drive a good conversation. Good financial guidance and advice starts with a good conversation. People are nervous. People are afraid to talk about finances, right? And so you can see a little standoffish. Well, my objective is to try to have a good, casual conversation. By having those conversations about life, goals, objectives, it's what makes me understand what our financials are supposed to fund.
So if somebody does want to have a good conversation, how do they do that? How do they find you?
Our website is the best way to do that because you can get all the information you need, understand where we are, get a little bit more information, all that. SerenityWealthNow.com.
Reach out to Chris and Stacy today at SerenityWealthNow.com.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
This December 13th, join Wreaths Across America at Belle Reve Gardens Cemetery as we remember the fallen, honor those who serve, and teach our children the value of freedom. Help us lay remembrance wreaths on the graves of our fallen heroes. Sponsor a wreath, volunteer, or bring your family to this meaningful tribute to our veterans, because every hero deserves to be remembered. Learn more and sponsor a wreath. Visit NewsTalkSTL.com.
Hi, I'm Mark Sutherland, founder of Stone Ledge Distillery, and I'd like to give you a bottle of Stolock whiskey or inversion vodka. Enter now at stoneledgedistillery.com/win. Come experience our tasting room in historic Defiance. Enjoy Stolock whiskey, inversion vodka, and other Missouri-made spirits, wine, and craft beer in our beautiful cocktail lounge, cigar room, or out on the patio with live music every weekend. Don't forget, win a bottle of Stolock or inversion at stoneledgedistillery.com/win. Come raise a glass in Defiance.
For the heroes who have defended our country.
Be grateful for their service to this country.
People who fought for us. I'd like to say thank you.
I give my heart to some of those guys.
Honoring all who serve.
So we thank them on Veterans Day.
News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Randy Tobler here. Pour a big cup of coffee and catch my show every Saturday morning from 6 to 9. Right now, it's back to Mike Ferguson in the morning here on News Talk STL.
Okay, so the shutdown is about to be over, but the ripple effects are going to continue for a while. This is really, really crucial here. By the way, happy Veterans Day to everybody who served. Woo! Okay, so we've been mentioning a few different places where veterans get a thank you today. Let me just grab a few others here. Free Bloomin' Onion and beverage for veterans at Outback Steakhouse, Applebee's free meal. Let's see here, and IHOP. They are offering veterans 3 free buttermilk pancakes topped with strawberries, blueberry compote, and whipped cream. That's until 7 p.m. tonight. Get it? Red, white, and blue. There you go. Let's see here. Wendy's, Red Robin, Red Lobster, California Pizza Kitchen, Cracker Barrel, Bob Evans, they've all got offers.
And even if you're not a veteran, but you still want to do something nice for a veteran, you can check out the Freedom 13 and see what they've got going on, and see, kind of even just send them a thank you. Just send them like an email saying, hey, thank you guys for what you do.
I'm glad you said that, because I actually just a little bit ago got a text from Greg over at the Freedom 13 today at thefreedom13.org. They have a 15% off store-wide sale of the Freedom 13 merch. So you put in code, let's see here. Code is, there we go. VDAY, VDEAY, and you get 15% off at thefreedom13.org.
And all of that stuff helps them with all the good things that they're actually doing to try to help not only the veterans, but the families of the veterans as well. So check them out today. Today of all days. Come on, people.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's the day to do it. Okay, so let's go through some of the ripple effects that are still going to be happening. So as you know, the Senate has voted to end the shutdown, but the shutdown is still going on. And it's probably going to another day or two, because since it's a new deal that they approved there, it's not the same deal that the House approved. So now it has to go back to the House, and the House has to approve it. I am 90% certain that they're going to just say, yep, vote yes, move on, and then they can start fighting about other stuff.
It's just, again, I guess this just shows what public school education lacks when it comes to understanding the government. But if the government people are physically there saying, we vote to open us back up so we can go back to our duties, shouldn't that just be the end of it and saying, okay, cool, you guys are there, it's open, carry on?
I think by the end of the week, that's what's going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah. So now let's talk about how this affects us, though. So the SNAP benefits, it looks like in Missouri, they are still going to be partial payments that are paid out this week. Because even if the House came back in tomorrow and voted to reopen the government, which they might, and then it goes to the president and he signs it in tomorrow, that doesn't free up the backlog. So I don't know if they're going to do an additional payment to make up for the benefits that were supposed to go out on November 1st, or whether or not things just go back to normal in December. I just don't know the answer to that. But we do know it's partial payments in Missouri, and partial payments were already paid out in Illinois.
See, I'm not sure what the logic behind that is, because you had people doing the full jobs, not maybe everybody, but that's understandable if you're not getting paid for over a month. But should it not just be, hey, you did your job and we're going to give you all the money we owe you, plus here's the money again to continue doing your full job? It just,
okay. Now, most people, though, aren't affected by the SNAP thing. You know, there are a lot, but it's not most. A lot more people are being affected by the whole delays. There was another like 500 flight cancellations and another 1,000 delays already this morning. It looks like
Mhm.
that's not going to go away anytime soon. It's possible that ripple effect could last till almost Thanksgiving. Yeah, and now it's going to get a little bit better each day once they sign this into place, but it's not going to happen right away.
That's the one that I think, especially with a major consumer sort of holiday, Black Friday and Cyber Mondays coming up. It's not just a matter of, okay, we're back to normal business, because you still have people that could be delayed or had to go through alternative methods.
Mhm.
It's going to be interesting. I hope it's not chaotic, but I hope more than anything it's just a matter of, okay, instead of it being a 3-hour delay, now it's a 15-20-minute delay. I think that would be best case scenario at best. But
yeah, and President Trump's talking about big bonuses for the air traffic controllers who continued to show up to work even though they weren't getting paid. Now he's talking about some big bonuses, like big bonuses. And he's telling everybody who stopped showing up to work, okay, time to go back to work. Well, they're going to go back to work when they're ready to get paid. But again, as we've heard from the chief of the Flight Controllers Union or Association, basically they're saying a lot of these guys and gals have taken on other jobs. So, and I know that we tend to use as a throwaway example, they're door dashing or grub hubbing. Well, some of them probably are, but you've got pretty highly technical people here. I would not be surprised if there's a lot of people who said, all right, I'll take on a gig doing coding or something along those lines. Okay, so well, they've got to finish a project to get paid for it. So that sort of thing it means that it's going to be just a little bit before, and then you've got to get caught up on the backlog. And so the ripple effect, if they reopen the government this week, which seems to be the case, you're probably looking at a week. Some articles I've read, even a week and a half before things really get back to normal as far as the airlines, although it will get better every single day.
And this is, I guess, could be taken as a great lesson for when you are not making yourself entirely reliant on the government. And yes, the air traffic controllers and military people are reliant on the government for their payments.
Yeah, but that's their employment. Yeah.
But when you are able to leverage your own skill set in other ways to not have to be solely reliant on there, then it's good for you because you can find other gigs. It's not great, but the downside then becomes, well, you try to hold all these industries hostage for your Democrat nonsense. And now the rest of us are going to be stuck, feeling the effects of it.
And, it's interesting because, like, for instance, Dick Durbin, senator from Illinois, was one of those who crossed over and voted to reopen the government. He's catching some flack for that.
Really?
I mean, throughout Illinois and through the farther left groups are really mad at him and the other Democrats who voted that way. Now, Dick Durbin's announced he's not running for re-election, so he doesn't care. It doesn't affect him any way, shape, or form. But some of these far left folks are angry that the Democrats decided to end the shutdown that the Democrats started.
Which, again, look, from some of the statistics I've looked into, the Democrats are usually the ones that were more affected overall by the government being shut down than the Republicans. So please, my government, my Democrat representative, hurt me more to spite the Republicans so we can blame Donald Trump. And then how dare you go and reopen the government to help me continue getting my government assistance. So now I'm also mad. It doesn't, I just can't understand it.
Well, and Tim Jones a little bit earlier had an interesting point where there's no question that the Republicans won this round. And even the media had to acknowledge at some point, well, this is the Democrats choosing to do the shutdown. Democrats didn't really get anything in return. I mean, they got nothing.
They got some good sound bites.
And that's the thing. Maybe they'll be able to campaign on it in 2026, but they didn't really get anything. They got an agreement to allow a vote that they're going to lose. I mean, there was one version of it that happened yesterday, but they'll probably have another one in early December.
Well, I mean, I guess you could try to leverage that and say, look, we stood up to the government and we got them to, to cave in to at least allow us to vote for it. And it didn't go our way, but them, they control all the government. So we had no chance. I can imagine that, but I really hope that's not going to be as effective on people. Right. But then again, I think it is because a lot of people still don't realize it was the Democrats' entire time voting, no, we're not going to reopen the government.
Right. And so also this is going to go through the end of December. So are we going to be right back in the same spot that we're in, frankly, coming out of right now, which is very possible. But to the point that Tim was making is that this is one of those rare occasions where congressional Republicans stood firm kept a backbone, and they ended up winning and doing the right thing. And somebody may say, well, what was Chuck Schumer thinking? I think you asked that question. I remember while Tim was talking, I'm thinking, well, Chuck Schumer's probably used to the Republicans capitulating.
Yeah.
Chuck Schumer probably goes, they'll fold. They always do. And then all of a sudden, oh crap, they didn't fold. Now what do I do?
Now, let's say when it comes time to do the vote, and the vote does not go the way that the Democrats wanted to, can they then shut the government down again? Is there like a refresh period?
Well,
or can you just keep shutting it down and opening it
they're
willy-nilly?
going to have to reauthorize the spending after the end of December. So it's possible in January that there could be another government shutdown. But my guess is Democrats might be a little bit gun shy on this because they lost this round, but I don't even think they care about winning that vote on the Obamacare subsidies. They want it to campaign on in 2026 more than they want that $1.5 trillion added to the spending that's being authorized now. I think they want this in 2026 more than they want it right now.
Okay, so probably a little bit more performative than they are letting us, letting people run to.
Right. Yeah, I think it's very, very performative. All right, 314-912-1019. Got some thoughts on it? Let's talk.
We've also we've been mentioning it all day, but we're not going to stop mentioning it until we have every single barrel filled, and that is the barrels that we have for our food drive. The St. Louis County GOP and NewsTalkSTL, among many of our friends and the companies in the area, are all getting together and saying, look, it's that time of year. We want to make sure that in the case of another, God forbid, shutdown, but even just for the Thanksgiving spirit, let's get together. Let's do a food drive. Go on NewsTalkSTL.com, and you can see all of our great locations and drop off some food.
7.0, looking at life through the eyes of a tire hub.
Hey, Tony Colombo here with Tim Jones for our friends Rodney and Jen Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway, the #1 home selling team in the St. Louis area. And I can say that from firsthand experience. My wife and I were blown away from the results that we saw from working with Rodney and Jen, from selling our old home faster and for more money than we thought possible to finding our family's perfect new home. They over-delivered every step of the way. And right now, it's still very much a seller's market. So, Tim, for folks that have been thinking about selling their home, it's a perfect time to call the Wallners.
That's right, Tony. And don't forget, they're licensed in both Missouri and Illinois. So no matter where you are in the metro area, you can put St. Louis's #1 home selling team to work for you. The Wallners' experience and work ethic, second to none. And of course, the numbers speak for themselves. The Wallners sell 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor. Right now, they're working with so many qualified buyers, they'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. If you've been thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner Home Selling Team.
Hello, Kirk Hilsinger, chairman of the Republican Party for the city of St. Louis. We complain about dark, out-of-state money being used to influence Missouri politics, and we actively have that going on right now. Out-of-state interests from as far as Ohio and Michigan are collecting signatures to bypass what your state legislators have done this summer. We request you decline to sign these petitions. For more information, see us at stl-gop.com.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC, Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
Located in the heart of St. Charles, Kevin's Guns is your family-owned destination for all things firearms. Whether you're a collector, hunter, or military enthusiast, we have it or can get it for you. From new to used rifles and handguns in every style and caliber, our friendly and knowledgeable staff is here to help educate you and ensure you make the perfect choice for your needs. Buy, sell, or browse our incredible selection at kevinsguns.net or call 636-493-1195. Kevin's Guns, where gun enthusiasts come home.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
St. Louis County votes on a bill next week that would provide apprenticeships, prevailing wage, and minority hiring requirements. We'll talk to David Stokes at 4:20.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps, weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
Hi, it's Vic Porcelli.
And Ken.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, Vic.
Ken and I are on every Monday through Friday here on News Talk STL. Right now, you're listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. Whoosh, my morning people.
All right, the food drive's off to a great start.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I was here yesterday, and one of our bosses, Joe, he said, hey, Mike, I need your help on something. Can you come with me? Yeah, absolutely. So I walk out, and we had a couple people just drive up yesterday after we announced the launch of the food drive. They came in with cases of food. There were pastas, there were, one was a case of like applesauce for kids and soups. And so I happily helped unload it from somebody's, from the trunk of the folks that came by here. So thank you to everybody who did that. NewsTalkSTL.com is where you can find all the drop-off locations. One of those is right here at the radio station.
Yeah, and if this is a little too far for you, we do have one at one of the Michael's Flooring locations in Olive Boulevard and Creve Coeur, and I've got people in that area. I'm trying to bug say, look, you guys are on that road. You go drop some food off. But there are several locations that might be a little bit closer to you, so you don't have to show up to us.
You're welcome to.
And you're welcome to, but maybe use this as a chance to get to know your community.
And let me just caution everybody, don't make a decision as to whether or not you're going to help somebody in need here in the area. Don't make that based on whether SNAP is fully funded. That's not what this is about.
There are definitely people who are not on SNAP, but would definitely appreciate being able to say, wow, I can have a little bit of an extra meal this month.
Yeah.
Because situations are weird. I mean, there were times where my mom, single mother, I've got a younger brother, we were dirt poor and we were just not qualifying for government assistance. So we had to rely on programs like this to eat. And so that's why I'm very passionate about this sort of stuff.
And one of the things to keep in mind that we're working with Feed My People, which is based here in St. Louis, and they are a ministry that works with people holistically. So you're not just saying, well, I'm going to spend $10 extra and donate, and I hope that you do. But this isn't just somebody gets to eat and anonymously all you did was fill a stomach for a few minutes. It is much, much, much deeper than that because of the way this ministry works. So NewsTalkSTL.com, us, the Central Committee of the St. Louis County GOP, we are working together on this. So I would challenge everybody, whatever group that you're in, your Sunday school class, your softball team, your basketball team, your whatever, your
chess club,
your book club, whatever it is, next time y'all meet up, saying, hey, this food drive is going on. Let's all pull together and come up with a box full of food. So Chris's Pancake locations, Michael's Flooring Outlets, Bartolino's, and then obviously here at the radio station. So please do get involved in that.
I believe her name was Renee Artman, right?
Yeah, that's the chair of the St. Louis County.
So she did confirm beans and rice, as long as you bag them up right and there's no holes in them or punctured, they will accept those. So.
And this is what conservatives say. So are we going to follow through with what we say? And that is we can take care of our own better than the government can.
Yes.
Yep. All right. So stick it to the government and help out your neighbor.
Yes.
Do it.
Love it.
Okay. Veterans Day. All right. I've been going down a lot of these, I would say offers. They're giveaways to veterans. And so vets, listen, first of all, thank you. Secondly, take advantage of it. You've earned it. Maybe it's just a token, but still it shows that people are caring. Let's see here. 54th Street Grill and Bar. I like 54th Street Grill. That's a good place.
I've not been there yet.
Yeah. Active veterans and active service members, $10 off any entree as well. Mod Pizza. There's actually one right up the road here from where we are right now. When veterans buy one mod size pizza and salad, they get another one for free. Let's see here. Circle K. You can get a free medium coffee. Now, you're better off going to Mario's and getting a coffee, but you can get one there if you want to do that. I did not even know Golden Corrals were around still.
Really?
Yeah, Golden Corral.
I'm actually kind of happy about that.
Yep. So on, let's see here, the 13th. Let's see here. It says Monday, November. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, that's a different year. Okay, so active that somebody clearly on First Alert 4, somebody just copied an old list and put it up here, but they're reporting that this is so Golden Corral. Active and former military members are invited to Military Appreciation Night, where they can receive a complimentary meal.
Good.
There you go. Chili's, same thing. They receive a free meal from a select veterans menu. Bob Evans, free meal from a select menu. Cracker Barrel. Free sunrise pancake special with proof of military service.
So while the government was not paying our military members, the private sector came up and said, hey, we're going to do a little bit extra for Veterans Day today and help feed our veterans.
Yeah. So KMOV's got the story on their website with all the list. Listen, if I'm not a veteran, but if I were, I would just look at the map and I would map out going one place to another and just live high on the hog today, because in the St. Louis community, there's a lot of people who want to say thank you.
Oh, that is such a good idea. Do like a restaurant crawl type thing. Just you and
crawl.
your buddies. Okay,
Get
of course,
in there.
make sure that you clean up after yourself if you're going to do that, though. Because I have seen people that they try to take advantage of that and then their stuff's laying around. But no, that sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
A veteran crawl.
And
wow.
bring your ID, bring your military ID. And so they're gonna, most of these places are gonna ask for that. So, but anyway, yeah, just go and do it. And I've had military in my family, and so most of the military folks in my family have already passed on. So Memorial Day is a bigger one in my family, just because they're gone already at this point. But with the veterans out there, so many, thankless job that they did. So at least this is a way to make it not so thankless.
Yeah, and again, it's almost a shame in a lot of ways that so many of us, I mean, we wait until it's either a holiday or a tragedy or a crisis before we take it upon ourselves to do just a little bit extra for somebody that does. I mean, with veterans especially, I've met and I've talked to, I've been friends with veterans since I can remember, and I've got a few in my family, and it's not always the storming of Normandy, but every person in the military serves an essential function of protecting our borders. And so, if nothing else, I mean, the government was shut down and they were not taking care of it.
Right. Well, and there's constant.
I'm still so mad about.
We've heard so many people talk about all the problems in the VA.
Yes.
As well.
Yes.
So, and a lot of these are the chain places that are just like, okay, we're going to do this. And to be honest, a lot of that's marketing for them, but that's fine. I don't have any problem with that at all. But there are probably more offers just with local businesses out there as well. So if you see one, post that in like the comments. You can put them up on like the Rumble chat box or something, but that's going to go away once we go off the air here in about 3 minutes. But you can put it in the comments or just put it on social media so that the veterans know where they can go to get a thank you.
And again, not to be all doom and gloom, but if you have any extra, with the 988 number, 988 is a crisis hotline. There was an issue of, I believe it was last year or so, but they were trying to expand the people that they would have specifically to be able to help veterans that might be in a crisis situation. So if you have, of course, look it up, make sure that the information's not changed. But if you have a little bit of extra for today to donate to help somebody be available in case there is, or even check up on your own people, because it's, they served us, and it's just, I think it's morally wrong for us to just kind of send them aside and just, walk around them.
Well, and this is I say that the holidays bring out the best of people and the worst of people. This is the best of people.
Yes.
When we say, I will because I can.
Yes.
Whether it's the food drive or whether it's Veterans Day or whatever the case is. Like I think I mentioned a couple hours ago, being in media, I've done a lot of food drives over the years, and I never get tired of them. But consistently, what I hear over and over and over are two things. One, the vast majority of donations come in during the holidays because it's on our mind more. And secondly, they say there's always people who have gone one direction or another. There are people who have had to rely on this volunteer help, and then they become donors. And there's other people who in better times were donors and they had rough time in life, and then they became recipients. But this is all like with our food drive here with the St. Louis County GOP Central Committee, all voluntary. We're working with a ministry here. Try working with a ministry in a big corporate situation. It's not going to happen. We're working with a ministry, and this is all voluntary. And don't think for a minute that it couldn't happen to you or somebody in your family, because that's like I said, that's something I've been told over and over and over again. We had people who have shown up who used to either volunteer or even donate in the past, and you know what? Job loss, medical thing wiped them out. I mean, you just never know what can happen. But we're never more than one or two paychecks away from being in need. And
I don't want to pat ourselves on the back too hard, but when you look at, Michael's Flooring has been part of the station for quite a while. I believe most of, if not all of them have. And this is, so it's good to be able to go out there. And if you have any News Talk merch, or even just to say, hi, thank you guys. I heard about you on the radio. I heard about you on Mike Ferguson in the morning. And I just want to say thank you guys for helping out the community. We're out there listening. That helps us out. That helps you out. That helps everybody out. And it's just, again, such a good way to get to know who cares in your community.
I think sometime next week, I want to go out to one of the drop-off locations. We can tell everybody, hey, come on out. I'll help you unload it from your car, and I'll do it myself. I don't know which one, but let's do one of those.
Oh, I'm on board with that.
I think we got to do that. Let's do it. NewsTalkSTL.com. More details are available there.